Our game's about style. We forge our own path forward. Because our style is substance.
Very good afternoon to you and welcome here to John Locke's GA grounds in Callan in County Kilkenny for the latest round of action in the Littlewoods Ireland National Camogie League. Of course, it's the quarter-final clash between near neighbours Tipperary and Offaly. My name is Cillian Whelan, and for the next couple of hours, with thanks to Entray and all the crew in Littlewoods and the Camogie Association, bringing you the best of the action in what we hope is a cracking encounter. Joining me as always is Elaine Aylward. Good afternoon to you, Elaine.
Afternoon, Cillian.
Elaine, you got to see some good action in Borough, of course, yesterday. Probably a little bit closer than people expected. Would you be hoping for something similar today?
Yeah, we had two really tight, close games played out right to the final whistle, and in the first case, a last-minute goal to snatch a win for Meath there yesterday. So yeah, look, I think any of the two teams here today would be expecting a good close battle, and anyone who saw that yesterday just goes to show that the favourites tag doesn't always follow, the story doesn't follow suit, and you know, on any given day it can be anyone's chance.
Now, Offaly come into today on the back of a fairly chastening defeat against Kilkenny the last day. They haven't had a whole lot of time to really work out any of their issues or anything like that, whereas Tipperary have obviously had the chance, even though Bill has said in his interview that, you know, they weren't kind of slacking or anything like that, but they had a chance maybe for the bodies to recuperate a little bit, and also they got maybe time for, you know, the likes of Roisin Howard and Niamh Tracy and whatever to come back into the setup.
Yeah, both teams probably coming in on a little bit of a different trajectory, I suppose. Tipperary had that first round defeat to Cork, then they had the win over Waterford. As you said, they've had 2 weeks now to kind of fine tune some of those things to get ready for today. Offaly, on the other hand, you know, good win the first day out, and as you said, a really, really chastened defeat to Kilkenny then last weekend. But look, sometimes you learn more in defeat. I know it's probably been a long week in some sense for them, but again, I think sometimes you're better off to just get back on the field as quick as you can after a defeat like that and try to right the wrongs. And no doubt they'll have talked about some of the things they want to work on from last weekend, and they have the opportunity now today to do it, and a place in a league semi-final is the prize.
Now, Offaly, obviously, a team that seemed to be somehow able to get in under the skin of Tipperary a little bit over the years, and they've had close enough encounters. I'm sure Susan Erner will be hoping some of those players will be able to draw on some of those previous experiences.
Yeah, sometimes you can't beat a bit of local rivalry, I suppose, just to try to get one up on a team, and Offaly have been that bogey team for Tip on occasion over the last couple of years. So look, I think they did a lot of things right last weekend. They were just unfortunate that, you know, when it did break down, Kilkenny were really, really well able to punish them last weekend, but you could see how they were trying to play and the type of play they were trying to develop, and I think if Susan and Offaly can stick with that, there's definitely, you know, there's good days ahead for Offaly, and what better way to start than here today in Callan.
Turn to Tipperary then, and obviously the returning of Roisin Howard, Niamh Tracy, obviously big pluses. Unfortunately, since the Waterford game, confirmation that Clodagh Quirk has suffered that cruciate injury, and we wish her the very best of luck in her recovery. But you know, now maybe a settled defence has had to be changed around that little bit. That maybe is something that Bill Mullaney will find out a little bit more about today, I'm sure.
Yeah, certainly a massive loss for them, and as you said, a real cornerstone, a corner back there, and a name you'd have down on the team sheet every day. So, you know, Tip will have to rejig that defence, but look, that's what they've been using the league for, is to get experience into those players. They've a really strong intermediate setup as well over the last couple of years, so they've been able to feed some of those players through. So look, there's no point in having the players unless you're going to use them. Obviously you'd be hoping not to have to use them in such unfortunate circumstances, but that's where Tip are today, and you know, I've no doubt that those girls will step up to the mark and settle into that defence again.
The views of Elaine Aylward then here in John Locke's GA grounds in Callan in County Kilkenny. All the action here today live on the Littlewoods Ireland GA Twitter account and also the Camogie Association YouTube channel. If you're watching, let us know whereabouts you are, and we might be able to give you a shout out throughout the afternoon. But all the action gets underway here at 2:30. We're not too far away, so do stay with us.
Our game's about style. We forge our own path forward. Because our style is substance.
Offaly Camogie manager Susan Erner. Susan, league quarter final, something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose at the start of the year we would have had lots of doubters that we wouldn't have got as far, and it just shows how important it is to be winning as many matches as you possibly can. So yeah, look, we look at it as another match. It's another game going towards the championship, and we're really up for it now today. We know we were disappointing the last day, and we've lots of regrets, but hopefully we'll put some of those right today.
And a bit of local rivalry, of course, neighbourly clash and all.
Yeah, definitely. Tipperary and Offaly, and I suppose Galway, the three counties there that are fairly close, and we've a few club bit of a club rivalry today as well. So look, both teams I suppose are anticipating a good tough match, and hopefully that's the way it'll turn out.
For yourself, important maybe in the last week to bounce back from that defeat to Kilkenny?
Yeah, like I suppose the biggest fear for manager is that we return to training and it's all doom and gloom, but in fairness to the girls, they really picked it up. They are willing to learn from their mistakes, and I suppose the one thing we lacked the last day was intensity, so I'm really hoping that we bring that today.
Wish you the best of luck, Susan.
Thanks a million.
Tip manager Bill Mullaney. Bill, league quarter final and another game in summer conditions.
Yeah, you know, like it's great to be out here in Kilkenny today in Callan. You know, you wouldn't want anything better playing in the summer. Nice dry day, sunny, and you know, two teams going to go at it. I'd say try and get into the semi-final. Yeah,
and going and up against you know, Offaly neighbours and everything like that, and maybe a resurgent Offaly in recent weeks as well. So going to be a tough enough game.
Look, all our matches against Offaly have been tough over the years. Go back to 18, 17. There was a puck of a ball between the two of us. There's nothing between us on any day, you know. So I mean, we respect and know what we have to do. We have to be at our best to play against them and get a win, you know.
Bill, an opportunity in the last, I suppose, fortnight. Then you've been able to sit back, I suppose, and recuperate and get the bodies over the line, and some faces coming back in today then as well.
Yeah, a couple of faces come back in. Roisin in for the start as well in the middle of the field. You know, like I mean, the last couple of weeks we weren't exactly sitting back either. We were we realised we're going to have a tough match in the quarter final, no matter who we were meeting, and we had to prepare for that. So like I mean, we worked hard over the last couple of weeks. Got to try to get as many bodies as we could. We've lost a couple of bodies, as you know, since the last day with Clodagh out as well. A huge loss to us, but you know, that's what panels are for, and that's what we want to find during the league. The people that are going to be there for the championship, you know.
Wish you the best of luck today.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Thanks.
Our game's about style. We forge our own path forward. Because our style is substance.
And you're welcome back to John Locke's GA grounds here in Callan in County Kilkenny. And of course it is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1, a quarter final. And Lane Aylward, we heard from both managers there. I suppose both of them have to be positive ahead of this clash, but I suppose if you were to reflect on matters, you would feel that Tipperary are in the stronger position coming into this game.
Yeah, Tipper probably a little bit further ahead in their development under Bill, and you know, a team that has been there or thereabouts at the knockout stages of league and championship for the last number of years. Obviously had qualified for the league final last year, and I suppose that's probably a big driving factor for this Tipperary team. You know, they haven't gotten to too many finals in the last couple of years, and they were due to play the league final last year, and obviously it was cancelled then. So you know, to get back there again and I think have a crack at what's commonly the big three at the moment. Like I think they've been, as I said, there or thereabouts, the kind of a lot of people's fourth team maybe in the competition at the moment behind Kilkenny, Cork and Galway, whereas you know, I think to make the breakthrough they probably need to win a national competition or to take the scalp of one of those big three, and you know, to do that they have to get over Offaly here first today, so they're probably a little bit further ahead in their development than Offaly, but you know, Offaly still at the same time will have nothing to fear, and you know, I think they have a really good setup there with Susan and the backroom team she's put in there. They have a good mix of experience in that Offaly team, and you know, players that have been in around that scene again. You know, they haven't quite made the knockout stages, but it's obviously an aspiration that they have to get back there. So, you know, I think both teams will give it everything here today, and both will feel they have nothing to lose.
And looking at matters as well from Tipperary point of view, that you know, they're, as you said, they're just building on an opportunity maybe of a couple of other players coming in. There's 5 changes to the team from the last day and everything, you know, so that's some people might say unsettling, but obviously an opportunity of bringing some players in and fitting in the likes of Niamh Tracy and of course Roisin Howard, as we already mentioned to. Yeah,
and some of those changes obviously forced and some of them optional personnel changes, but you know, I think especially this year, maybe given that the league is shortened, it's a short run into championship and games will come thick and fast, you need to know that you have a panel that you can rely on, and if you do pick up an injury from week to week, that you have subs there that are capable of stepping up. And you know, it's very hard to step up at the last minute into championship pace, so I think from every manager's point of view, you want to try and get as much game time into as many of your panel players as possible and get them playing at the highest possible standard, so that when the need comes at the greatest time in championship, that they're ready to go.
So let's have a look at the teams then, and we begin with Tipperary. So they will line out with Anya Slattery back in goals, so she returns there. Shannon Rovers, Julianne Burke-Borrisley, Mary Ryan of Moneygall, and Emer Lockman of Clonulty Rossmore. The halfbacks are made up then of Aoife McGrath. She, of course, the joint captain. She from Drummond Inch. She plays alongside her cousin Mairead Eviston. who's wearing the number 6, and Sarah Friday is back in the team, she wearing number 7 from Clonalty Rossmore. Her cousin, of course, lines out middle of the field, Arena Friday wearing number 8, and Roisin Howard returns to the action, having played with the LGFA last night. She's back here today. Emer McGrath then, who is along the same line as her sister Aoife, Nicole Walsh and Niamh Tracy. Niamh Tracy back in for the first time since the All-Ireland semi, and then Grace O'Brien, Cot Devan, the joint captain, and Claudia McIntyre are the full forward line. We pause here for a minute's silence in memory of Noreen Ferncombe, who is Dinny Ferncombe's mum, who has sadly passed away. The Offaly setup then will be as follows. In goal will be Mairead Jennings of Burr, Sarah Walsh of Tullamore, and coming in wearing number 25 is Michaela Morgan of Shinrone. She replaces Trina MacDonald in the full back line alongside Lorraine Keena of Kilcormac Killahy. It's Amy Byrne of Lusma, Aisling Brennan, the vice captain of St Killian's, and Sharon Shanahan of Shinrone. The midfield partnership is Roisin Egan of St Rynagh's and Orla Kerwin, the captain of Burr. It's Emma Mulrooney of Kilcormac Killahy, Grania Egan of Shinrone, and Grania Dolan of St Rynagh's. And then in the full forward line, Sarah Harding of Burr, Kate Kenny of St Rynagh's, and coming in wearing number 26 is Moneygall's Mairead Tehan. She replaces Siobhan Flannery of St Rynagh's. Referee today is Justin Heffernan of Wexford. Standby referee is Owen Elliott of Antrim. Kevin O'Brien of Limerick and Louise Riley of Cavan are with us here as well, as the game is up and running. And straight away, opportunity for Tipperary down at the far end then, as they attack the new development that's come in around John Locke's here in the last few years. Clubhouse to our left. That ball delivered in there by Aoife McGrath, but it's been cut out. And it's Michaela Morgan stepping in and popping the ball into the middle, but it's gone over the head of Kate Kenny. But the flick may be still there, possibly for Grania Egan. But it's Mairead Everston that gets in to disrupt this, and Mary Ryan knocking over here to the far side to Arena Friday, who got 3 points against Cork the opening day. That ball is cut out by the Offaly defence, and going to build on it here now, Aisling Brennan. Aisling gets a heavy knock there, scored a couple of points the last day. Got to shake that off now a little bit as the ball is delivered in by Orla Kerwin. Opportunity maybe for Kate Kenny to have a shot off, but that ball has gone out to the right and wide there from Sarah Harding. Chance kind of big in. This ball is delivered down at the far side, and the quick puck out coming after that opportunity as Offaly look to come and build again. Here's the aforementioned Kenny now getting the ball from Michaela Morgan, knocking the ball inside. The referee says that there was a foul committed after the ball was delivered. Justin Heffernan pointing where it should be, and it is an Offaly free into the clubhouse here. Been busy enough, Offaly having a chance there, it should have been taken really.
Yeah, busy opening, a couple of minutes from both sides, and both stringing some nice passes together out of their own half back line. Aoife McGrath with a great interception there on that last Offaly attack and breaking it down, and Michaela Markham, who was out at left half back now. Lorraine Keena looks to have gone in full back to pick up Cot Devan in the Offaly full back line. So a couple of positional switches all over the field, but a good start from both sides, and both will be happy.
So this free to be taken by Aisling Brennan, the St Killian's player, right down in front of us here then. Not overly happy with that as she goes down the tidal laces as the ball hops out of the hand in there. Chance maybe trying to get in and disrupt it. And have we another change in the Offaly setup in there, just trying to sort that out now with the numbers in a minute. Kate Kenny going to have a strike. Ball is knocking in around the house here. Looks like there's an opportunity there for a goal. Shot coming in from Gráin Egan. She got 3 against Dublin. And Offaly really giving it to Tip here in the early stages here. Maybe to settle things down now. Roisin Howard. The ball on the move with Sarah Friday. Sarah coming back, of course, from that injury last year, getting back in the late stages of the championship, but well cut out there by Orla Kerwin, and the ball has moved forward here towards the Offaly forward line. And it's their number 10, Emma Mulrooney, getting the ball into the corner here. And Offaly really taking this game now. As on the move is Maria Teen. Teen looking to step inside. Teen is still going, gets inside. An opportunity, but she's cut out by her clubmate, would you believe, Mary Ryan. Mary, of course, playing for Moneygall, but plays with Tip. Maria Teen plays with Moneygall, but she plays with Offaly as the ball is knocked in. And it looks like number 19 is on as well for Offaly. That looks like Caitlin Kennedy is going to cross for that ball. Jinkin and Jivin going to have a shot off her right. The ball looks like it's blocked, so it's going to go out for a 45. So I think we have another late change there, Elaine, to the Offaly team as well.
Yeah, possibly in a corner forward. There's a couple of positional switches in around there. Kate Kenny looks to be playing out around the 40, maybe at centre forward, certainly where she played a lot of Camogie last week against Kilkenny, I suppose, and out there in a bid maybe to get more ball into that full forward line. But, you know, it's been a lively opening couple of minutes to the game here, and both teams have had their chances. Offaly probably more so with shots on goal, and, you know, that Offaly half back line has really stood up to anything Tip has had to offer, and good run from Sarah Friday there originally, and Offaly did well to break it down and go on the attack themselves.
So to take this, Gráin Egan then got 3-5 against Dublin, got 2 points against Kilkenny. And a chance here to get an opening score from this 45. Gráin Egan putting this ball in and putting it over the bar. And I would say exactly what Offaly deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think from Susan Aaron's point of view, that'll be pleasing. There was a couple of chances late on last week against Kilkenny from frees, and they had a couple of different free takers, and the chances were missed. So, you know, to get one on the board now today will give Gráin great confidence, and it really gives Offaly a good start.
Yeah, Offaly getting a good start here and looking to dig in here at the moment, but chance maybe to break out from the crowd. Roisin Howard back in the setup, and look, it's 3-on-1 situation in here now, and Offaly have got to be alert to it, taking her time, maybe getting it into her hand as Grace O'Brien. She's going to settle down, put it up and over the bar, and maybe if Grace had just got that on the first time of asking, there was an overlap there.
Yeah, definitely 2 Tipperary players slipped inside that Offaly full back line, and Michaela Markham did really, really well to get back, but Grace O'Brien did really well to just slip back inside, and when the goal opportunity didn't present, did really well to take her score, and a great response from Tip.
Maybe the Offaly point has woken up Tip that little bit, but there's a ball being given away by Roisin Howard, and it's an interchange of passes now and a chance to come forward. Again, Brennan very, very strong on the ball. Looked like she fouled it and then she doubles on it. Good bit of skill there by Aisling Brennan, but ball is cut out, and it's going to be a chance over Tip to build from the back. Aoife Magrano stepping inside, looking for a little bit of support, knocks it down along the wing now, looking for the point scorer. O'Brien used her body very well there to roll off Lorraine Keena. Keena looking to get back into position, but O'Brien is stepping inside her. Is she going to get 2 from 2? Grace O'Brien, that's why she's back in today. That's a fine score.
Yeah, nearly a carbon copy of her first one. Long ball down into the corner, won it really well. Really clever jink back inside her again, and a lovely shot off her left hand side and over the bar, and, you know, Tip right back in it now.
2 in a minute for Grace O'Brien. 2 points to 1 day lead. Ball is out. It is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final. Offaly have been dispossessed now. The turnover there by Clodagh McIntyre. Ball is offloaded to Arena Friday. She knows where the posts are. Arena got a little bit of a late dunt there as that ball went in. It's gone wide, but he's going to call it back, is it? And he's going to have a chat with one of the Offaly defenders there, who's a little bit late there. Arena Friday, I think it's Lorraine Keena is going to have a chat with.
Yeah, possibly a little bit late and maybe a little bit high. I think Friday went down catching her hand straight away.
Yellow card straight away here for Lorraine Keena. I think Lorraine may be smarting a little bit from maybe Grace O'Brien 2 occasions, and she just was making sure there was no one else getting in by her. Yeah,
and a little bit of frustration from Offaly there. That was a ball they had on the way out. They should probably have dealt with it better, and were dispossessed and overturned in the half forward line, and it set up a wave of a Tip attack. And I think Lorraine Keena, being the last line of defence there, was ensuring that no one was going to pass there, and probably a little bit of frustration maybe at her teammates outside her that they hadn't done better with that one.
So still down getting a bit of attention. No, so just confirming it is Sarah Harding. Just hard to make out the black number and her long hair. Apologies, Sarah Harding is out there, and So just the two changes on the Offaly team, Michaela Morgan and Maria Teen. As the free comes from Kat de Van Den, her first foray in this game, and she puts the free over the bar.
Yeah, Cod had the last play we saw. Cotwin was back in her own nearly half back line here, played a really clever ball out to Aoife McGrath, but drifted all the way back up the field and back to where she's at her most dangerous.
Ball out to the middle, and all of a sudden the pep has gone a little bit out of the Offaly step as Tip coming flowing in numbers here. Emer McGrath linking up with Roisin Howard. Howard going to have a strike, and that's a fine score from Roisin Howard. Stepped lovely into the pocket, and all of a sudden Tip have got into a bit of a groove here.
Yeah, lovely little jink from Roisin Howard, and it's Offaly's own puckouts that are causing them a bit of trouble at the moment. And as Tip win them back, as I said, they're coming in waves off the shoulder then, and Roisin Howard breaking the tackle, lovely little jink forward, and a lovely point slash over the bar shows her importance to Tip.
Ray Jennings electing still to go along, and Emma Mulrooney trying to get in and win it, but it's a one back again by Roisin Howard. Hard to believe that Howard was involved in Thurles last night playing Dublin for the Tipperary Lady Footballers as the ball gets over to Arena Friday, and all of a sudden Tip can do no wrong here.
Absolutely, everything they touch at the moment is going right for Tip, and a lot of it, as I said, is coming from that Offaly puck out. Offaly failing to win possession from their own puck outs, and it's inviting Tip onto them and allowing them attack at speed.
The ball eventually out here, and we'll have to say though, when Offaly get to the halfway, they are causing problems.
Yeah, when Offaly do gain possession there, they counter-attack nearly identical to how Tip are attacking at the other end. It's quick, it's off the shoulder, and it's sharp passing, but they just haven't been able to penetrate and get on the scoreboard in the last few minutes.
All-star goalkeeper for 2020, Anya Slattery sends that down the throat here of Nicole Walsh, but the ball is broken away and it's going to be delivered now again by Michaela Morgan over to the far side, looking for a little bit of run out of Maria Teen. Out in front, she's trying to get there, but it's Sarah Friday to step back inside and looking to be able to offload this ball. Ball is into the hands then of Roisin Howard. Howard delivering it straight and long, right down the middle it goes. Grace O'Toole trying to get in there and win it, but this time it's the Offaly defence that break out with it, and it's over here. It comes to our side of the field, looking for Emma Mulrooney. Lovely little bit of a touch here to get inside McGrath. Spins away again Emma, and down along the wing it goes, looking for a little bit of movement out with Sarah Harding. Harding looking to get in there, but the ball is flicked away from her by Julianne Burke. Ball is on the ground, but it could still be moved on here. Emer Lockman looking to step inside, but the ball is blocked away, and the linesman on this side, of course, who is Kevin O'Brien, says that is going to be a sideline cut for Tipperary, and maybe Offaly starting to wake back up again.
Yeah, they seem to get a grip around the middle of the field from that last puck out, and as I said, Arena Friday and Roisin Howard has started really, really well there for Tipperary, and with a point each their name, so I think Offaly need to get a foothold there and maybe get some more long ball into that full forward line.
Trying to win the ball over on the far side, the two Offaly lady footballers linking up, Roisin Egan and Grán Egan. One is St. Ryan, one is Shinrone, but dual stars, as we mentioned, but ball not able to be kept in by Grán Egan. She got the opening score of the game. That came from a 45 after 5 minutes, and it seemed to wake up Tipperary, because Tipperary then hit 5 on the bounce in the next 4 minutes, and they lead by 5 points to 1. Ball flicked down along the wing now. Michaela Morgan got a little bit of a push in the back there from Clodagh McIntyre. Got a goal, of course, and a fine goal against Waterford the last day. Ball back into the middle to Howard. Howard delivers it to Walsh. Walsh flicks the ball inside. Lovely bit of skill. Opportunity to get a shot off here. That ball is gone over the bar. Fine score there again from Grace O'Brien, and she's got 3 from 3 shots a goal.
Yeah, she's a busy woman in that Tip full forward line, but Tip lining up on that occasion, waiting to take the shot. They had 2 and 3 players in position to take it, and Grace lucky to get on the end of it, but she's really started really, really well here for Tip.
Good bit of play there by Nicole Walsh, flicked it left and then right to be able to maintain possession. Ball thrown inside by Emer McGrath, trying to get Roisin Howard on the charge again, stepping outside Roisin Egan, and Howard is pulling the strings at the minute. That is an opportunity, but it drops into the grateful hands of Maria Jennings, and it's time to puck it out here to Keena. Keena lets it slip overhand. Devan coming in to take her on, but she steps inside now, takes an opportunity, but it works out luckily for her, and it's delivered up long by Michaela Morgan. But look at all the space that Mary Ryan is able to step into, and is out in front of Sarah Harding as loads of time. Harding comes hard in on top of her, and the ball is knocked from her grasp, and she's on the ground. The Tip bench not happy with that challenge, and I think Sarah Harding is going to have a chat. Again, probably a little bit of frustration from Sarah.
Yeah, Mary, I suppose an aimless enough ball from Michaela Markham down into the Tip half of the field, and Mary Ryan, as I said, in a load of time, a load of space, had options. Anya Slattery had moved out behind her. Mary Ryan opted to come up close to the line, but Harding was a bit like a full back there, and thou shalt not pass, and the tackle was hard, and I think she picked up a yellow card there for her troubles, and Mary Ryan now just picking herself back up off the ground again.
And Mary made it tough stuff, back up and going. Better say hello to, wonder if she's listening, Karen Kennedy. Karen had a few wisdom teeth removed, I believe, about 10 days ago now. And I believe was playing through the pain, Elaine, over the last few weeks.
Yeah, rather her than me, and she certainly didn't show any ill effects of any pain or any wisdom teeth any day I saw her. Anyway, she was a real centre back there for Tip for the last couple of days, so obviously she'll be watching on with interest and looking to get back into this Tip team as soon as possible.
Niamh Tracy having the shot off, but first start since the All-Ireland semi-final, she has pulled that to the left and wide. Took it then by Jennings over to the far side. I think she's been urged now maybe to play that side of the field and target Kate Kenny, who's over there. The ball is flicked up along the wing now, looking for Mulrooney. Playing it back to Roisin Egan. Egan into the middle. Offaly do have, as we said, a bit of space when there's an opportunity. Get a shot off, and that is a fine score from Aisling Brennan, who might wear number 6, but she knows where the posts are on occasion.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Offaly are good at. When they strung a couple of those passes together last week against Tipperary, obviously when it breaks down, they were punished, or against Kilkenny last weekend, and when it did break down, they were punished. But they just showed there with that little passage of play that they're certainly able to mix it up, and given the opportunity, they're able to take the scores.
Time for Orla Kerwin, the captain from Bird, to deliver this long now and look for Moneygall's Marea 18. But winning the race back there is Julianne Burke, who has the job of watching her ball. Is flicked up by Julianne Burke as a sideline cut for Offaly. Owen Elliott, the Antrim official, has gestured that it is a sideline cut for Offaly. Going to get a shot off there was Mulrooney, but looking to pass inside. Egan now looking to step away. Roisin Egan is getting the advantage and going to be called back. And again, keep saying it, when Offaly get a run on Tip back there, they are causing a few problems.
Yeah, and they are doing exactly what Tip are doing at the other end. They attacked hard there, and they could see the run of Roisin Egan coming through, or Aisling Brennan coming through there and taking the pop pass, and knew she had the advantage, couldn't get the shot off, and a free now and a chance for Grán Egan just to get them to touch again.
Back in touch here, it would be good for Offaly. Grán Egan with this opportunity puts the free over the bar, and Susan Erner saying good stuff, and it's keeping them in touch here at 6-3, quarter of an hour gone. Straight on to it now, Michaela Morgan. Good to see Michaela in fine flow again as they're dropping the ball in towards Harding, but the ball is broken away by Moll Ryan, out into the grateful hands again of the Tip defence, and the ball is knocked up long, but it's a bit meaningless, maybe turned into something though. Nicole Walsh, credit to her, she kept on that ball and got away from Roisin Egan, is getting away from Orla Kerwin as well, putting it on the end of her hurl, flicking it inside. Here's Devan now. Devan has got inside, she'll have one thing on her mind. Devan going to have a strike! Back of the net from Devan. Once she got in there was no thinking of tapping it over the bar.
No, once Devan gets in there, she's a real forward, and she knew she had her head down, she was going for that. But that started that Tip play right from Moll Ryan's hand pass at the very back, touched the one touch, the little hand pass out over the head to Friday, and that built from there, and Tip really with momentum, and I suppose just putting a stop to any kind of Offaly momentum that they had picked up just with those couple of scores from Grán Egan.
But just what Offaly didn't need just before the water break, a bit of momentum. They had it back. They were only 6-3 behind. You can see just before the water break, it's a bit of a killer.
Yeah, it's nearly worth more than the goal. It's worth more than the 3 points Offaly had. They'd taken a little bit of time to settle, but they looked to have settled there just before they were hit with that killer blow. And as you said, a goal is such a huge score at any stage, but certainly at this point in the game.
I'd have to credit in the build-up to the goal here Nicole Walsh. It was kind of a meaningless ball in some ways, but she didn't give up on it, and it turned into something. Yeah,
it was a long ball up the right-hand sideline. Probably no immediate concern or danger in the Offaly defence, but once Nicole won it and made the bit of ground on it and got the ball across to Devan, I suppose that's when you start to hit the panic buttons, when Devan gets into possession in around the goal there, and like you said, like a true forward, put her head down, and an unstoppable shot to the back of the Mairead Jennings net.
Just looking at Mairead Jennings, she seemed to have her eye on it. She was in the perfect stance, she had feet planted, everything was right. Seems to be in a little bit of topspin on it that just got beyond her.
Yeah, there was a nice amount of time, I suppose, to the build up to it. She probably knew the shot was coming, but it was an unstoppable shot, and whether there was topspin or whatever, but Cod is obviously a fantastic striker of the ball, from dead balls, from frees, from sidelines, or obviously from play as well, and she was going to make no mistake once she got in that close.
Of course, it is the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter-final. The voice there of Elaine Aylward giving her views here on this encounter between Tipperary and Offaly. It is, of course, the final quarter-final of the weekend. Cork, Galway, Kilkenny already in the semi-finals that will be played out next weekend. Who will be joining? Will it be Tip? Will it be Offaly? Well, at the moment, it is the ladies from the Premier County. And of course the blue and gold of Tip who are in control. That goal from Cottevan, who's had a quite enough opening quarter in some ways, but that's all down to the Offaly defence in some ways. But the Offaly defence on occasion has been found wanting, and they have ultimately conceded 1-6 here. But they still are in touch in this game. Well, you would feel this time always seems to be in any game across all the codes. Once the water break of the first half up to half time, this can decide ultimately how the rest of the game is going to go.
Yeah, and it can be a momentum changer, I suppose, and it's important now for Offaly that they start quick again. You know, from a Tip point of view, you probably got the goal and maybe they would have liked to push on, try and win the next puck out and score from it again if they could keep that pressure on Offaly. So, you know, maybe they'll be a little bit annoyed that the water break came directly after that goal, but obviously they are in the better position going into it. This next puck out will be crucial now, and Offaly will need to get a hand on it and stop Tip winning it and maybe getting a score just to stretch the lead a little bit further.
Just a quick one. Tipperary's the midfield. We've seen them 3 times. This is their 3rd different midfield. How do you feel they're going?
Yeah, we've seen a couple of changes, and Bill obviously still trying to find the perfect 2 that he wants there. Look, they've had a couple of really, really strong exponents of it, but you'd have to say Arena Friday and Roisin Herritt have really started well there today. They've both got on the scoreboard and they've both had a huge amount of possessions and are responsible for a lot of what is good coming from the Tip play.
As we see a good bit of play there by Julianne Burke. She's shaking off a little bit of a flick to the hand that she got as she walks away. Won a sideline ball off of Grace O'Brien up here. And so it's going to be a Tip sideline. Unfortunately, we just can't see with the dugout there. You can see though Emer McGrath as she's about to knock this ball inside. Emer, of course, playing alongside her sister Aoife. Aoife playing the wing back and wearing number 5 shirt as Claudia McIntyre, as we saw against Waterford. Put the foot down and put it in the back of the net that day. Ball is flicked inside. Grace O'Toole just had a fly shot at that. That would have been something spectacular, but fairness to Keena, she's alert to it. Flicking the ball out, referee says there was a foul committed there, and just goes to show you Grace O'Brien is hopping off the ground out here.
Absolutely, yeah, and it hopped perfectly for her. Credit to the Offaly defence. They got out and smothered it quick, but did the right thing. Would have probably looked to volley on it and would have been a great finish, and, you know, would have really added to her first 3 points from the first half.
Sarah Friday gets a knockdown on that ball. Ball is going to be sent in, delivered now by Nicole Walsh over here towards Grace O'Brien, who's had a fine start to this game. 3 points out in front of her marker, flicking the ball inside now. Here's McGrath going to tap this ball over the bar. Lovely link-up play by Tip.
Yeah, and a real textbook. There was a drill in the warm-up just before that where there was players popping off the shoulder and getting shots off on the goal, and that was exactly it. And, you know, pleasing for Bill Maloney to see, I suppose, what's happened on the training ground coming into play in a league match. 1-7-2,
3 points then, so a 7-point lead for Tipperary. It seems to have gone out to 7 very, very quickly. Is coming on to with Markham, but she loses, and it was what a rob there by Arena Friday. Ball is knocked inside now. Here's McIntyre putting the head down again, looking to jink left and right, and then back on her left, going to fire a ball in, but she's fired it unfortunately to the right and wide. One of the few forwards now that hasn't got on the scoreboard. Claudia McIntyre has got a point against Cork and 1-1 against Waterford. Will be anxious to get on the scoreboard. It remains 1-7-3. Mairead Jennings with the ball in her hand from the famed Borough Club in the county of Offaly. Ball out to the middle, knocked down there by the Claudia McIntyre in there trying to get on the break again, but it's dug out by Egan, dropping the ball now to her captain, or I should say our vice captain Aisling Brennan, knocking the ball inside. That could have been dangerous. Ball is flicked around in there. Teen is trying to get in. She's been held off that ball there by Anya Slattery, who didn't, you have to say, cover herself in glory that time. Mulrine Dove was back, keeping an eye on the goal that her clubmate wasn't going to be able to knock the ball beyond her. And it is a sideline ball over on the far side. So just in case you're wondering how her clubmates playing against each other, well, Maria Teen plays with Moneygall, but identifies herself as an Offaly woman and plays with Offaly. And Mulrine plays with Moneygall, but lines out in the Tipperary jersey. Of course, Maria Teen has won All-Irelands for Tipperary in her day as well, but now playing in the Offaly shirt as this ball is flicked inside. Good take by Sarah Harding, you'd have to say, jinking and jiving. Here she goes, could be an opportunity, but the referee says that she overplayed the ball, and that was probably the reason why she got beyond Emer Lockman at that stage.
Yeah, probably just took a little bit too much out of it, and maybe, you know, saw the goal and the chance for the goal, and credit, you know, for having the opportunity, but maybe would have been better on this occasion to just tip it over the bar and just get Offaly moving on the scoreboard again.
Anya Slattery knocking that ball long, but it goes over the head of the point scorer, the last point scorer, Emer McGrath. Emer, of course, of the Drummond Inch club, but plays with Drummond Inch, but of course they're the McGraths from Lockmore Castellini. As the ball is knocked inside now, opportunity for Offaly here maybe to get on this. Tien get it out in front of Lockman there, has a shot off, and that's a good score for Maria Tien, and might do her, her confidence a bit of good.
Yeah, and a really well worked score right from that clearance from the half back line. A lovely diagonal ball across the field. Sarah Harding did really, really well to win it outside her and popped it in. A great ball. Looked to maybe take the chance of the score herself. When it didn't come off, played it into Tien inside her, and a great score from Tien.
Lockman now delivering this ball up along the wing, but again, just notice, Tip have kind of got 4 in the half forward line, 2 inside forwards, but it's a bit too much of a gap sometimes there when that ball is knocked long. Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of space inside, and Toda McIntyre has found herself on occasion all alone inside in that full forward line, so that's obviously a danger for Offaly, and I think it comes maybe from Michaela Morgan back there pushing up the field a little bit and maybe neglecting her defensive duties a small bit.
Morgan going to have the shot, but it's tailed off to the right and wide. She was involved in that move there. The ball fell short for I think Aisling Brennan, and eventually worked out for Morgan. Thought there was a foul committed on a Tip player actually, but the play was allowed to continue, and it is another white for Offaly. I think by my count now that's 3 for them, as Anya Slattery finds Julianne Burke over on this side. The Boris Ali player steps inside Mulrooney and gives it off towards Aoife McGrath. McGrath down here towards the van, takes one look to Van at the post and angles it up and hands it high, and unfortunately sends it to the right and wide.
Yeah, it would have been a brilliant score to get. I suppose she took it really, really well in front of Lorraine Keane, swung lovely around, just didn't quite swing in far enough.
Ball breaks out onto the elbow there, and there should have been a definite free, I would have thought, right in front of the linesman as well. It was a right bang on to Orla Kerwin's elbow, and then Justin Heffernan given the free then for Tipperary. I think she was justifiably, she should have had a free here.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a late hurl in and it was high up on the arm, and no attempt to tackle the ball. It should have been a free for Offaly from there, and instead now they go down, and again a little bit of frustration maybe with Emma Mulrooney and just blown for charging and free out for Tip.
We're disappointed in the officials there. It happened very, very close to them here, as this free anyway goes. 1-7-4 remains. You are watching the action with the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final, live on the Littlewoods Ireland GA Twitter account, and also on the Camogie Association YouTube channel. Plenty of action, of course, to come over the coming weeks, and of course championship not far away as well, as this ball is flicked back by Emer McGrath. The Offaly crew not happy with the linesman, and I think maybe justifiably. On 2 occasions now they feel they've been done out of a ball to them, as that ball is flicked up by Lorraine Keane. No doubt about this, that it is a tip ball that the van is over to take on the just about 21 metres out on the far end here of the John Locke's Fine facility here in Callan. The sideline cut from the van, getting in dangerous, going to end in on the 13-metre line. It's Grace O'Toole looking to spin back around. Grace O'Brien, I should say. Ball breaks. Still could be looking in there. Looks like maybe going to be dug out by Brennan. Brennan's in there at the back of the scrum looking to get it. And it is eventually Egan that comes out with it. It's Roisin Egan that is looking to find her namesake over on the far side. But Friday has cut it out. That's Sarah Friday back in the team today. Looking to spin this off to Devan. Devan, look what a bit of skill from Cot Devan. We saw a bit of skill in Burr yesterday, and that's, I'd say, just as good.
Yeah, just touch, spin and control and over the bar. Super score, but credit the running also of Sarah Friday. She's been trading a couple of positions, I suppose, and from wing back today, she's really, she's thriving. She's storming up the field on every occasion and getting good ball into the likes of Cot Devan, who gives it the opportunity to perform like that.
Going to be asking Dave from our production team to mark that one out to be able to use it later on as Offaly come forward. Caught the van with a lovely bit of spin, kept the ball in touch with the hurl at all times, and then over the bar. Fine score, and pushes out the lead at 1-8 to 4 points. Small Rhino in loads of space, able to play it out here to Aoife McGrath, the joint captain of this Tip team, who are motoring well at the moment now. Looking to, as they head towards half time, maybe Bill Mullaney won't want it towards half time because they're in a fine groove, but it's cut out by Aisling Brennan, who's one of Offaly's standout performers. Ball is in over the top though, could work out here, but it's Anya Slattery out in front, the all-star goalkeeper as we mentioned, taking it nonchalantly out in front of the Offaly attacker, and it's still going here with McGrath. McGrath looking to step inside. does that very easily. Gets away from her marker, still going Aoife McGrath. Taps it into the middle. Lovely control ball. Nicole Walsh now spins that ball lovely inside. McIntyre looking to get out in front of her player. Looking to settle on this. Takes it back up into her hand, knocking the ball backwards, but it's gone unfortunately away from the tip forwards. Michaela Morgan using her experience there to dig that ball out, trying to get in there and help her out. Sharon Shanahan as well. Ball eventually is taken away, and it's Roisin Egan over on the far side. Going to be met by Nicole Walsh, but she elects to go diagonally across here, looking for an opportunity to get it there into that hand. Looked like it was a push on the Offaly forward, but referee allows the play to continue, and it's Roisin Howard that delivers it long here now. Looking for an opportunity to spin. It's Clodagh McIntyre getting away from Shanahan. She's missed one already. She's unfortunately missed the second one. Clodagh McIntyre is trying hard in there.
Yeah, she's absolutely, she's showing really, really well for the ball, but from an Offaly point of view, I suppose they've elected to leave Mary Ryan free in that tip defence, and she's having a field day there. She's so well able to read the ball and set up play and distribute to players outside her and set up tip attacks from the back, so it's something that Offaly will need to watch with their clearances.
Not too many quick puckouts from Offaly, you'd have to say, under the new rule. Maybe that's allowing Tipperary to just get settled in on their puck out, but she found, I have to say, Mairead Jennings a lovely ball. She found Michaela Morgan, and eventually has worked out as a sideline over on the far side, going to be taken by Grania Egan. 1-8 to 4 points. At different times Offaly come back storming into this game. Unfortunately they just don't take the opportunities all the time. Ball is played into the middle. Brennan gets a flick on it, but it's going to be read by the number 4 Emer Lockman, but it's taken back again by Orla Kerwin. Going to have a shot off, and that's a good score. She was sitting in the pocket well. Good robbery of Emer Lockman, and eventually fell to Kerwin over the bar.
Yeah, and the call came good and early from her. She knew she was in a position to score, and she was outside, as you said, right in the pocket, waiting for it, nearly like a drop goal in rugby. But that's what Offaly are capable of up there. As we said, they just haven't done it enough on occasion, and it's broken down maybe at the last little second.
So 1-8 to 5 on the scoreboard. It hasn't been changed here in Callan, but they are on to the points here. There's a shot coming off from Nicole Walsh, dropping in. No, Mairead Jennings, that's a fall from her grasp. Could be an opportunity. Clodagh getting it back to Grace. Grace going to have a shot! And maybe Mairead Jennings should have let that drop wide.
Yeah, I suppose she didn't claim it first time, and once it drops in around there at all, Tipper, it's so alert, and there's such dangerous forwards inside there. Great ball across to Grace O'Brien, and when she looked up, couldn't believe that the goal was almost empty, and in the kind of form she's in today, she was always going to score it from there.
That's a goal for Tipperary then, bringing them on to 2-8. And really, first goal was a fine effort, but unfortunately, a mistake made back there, and that gets Tip out of a bit of trouble again. Every time Offaly seem to be threatening to maybe get a little bit of a run, Tip seem to either get a couple of scores or obviously find the back of the onion sack. Yeah,
and that's exactly it. And I think that's the experience that Tip have of being around, as I said, the knockout stages of the championship. They're an experienced team. They've been here on a couple of occasions, so they're not going to get knocked too easily off stride. And any time Offaly have strung a couple of passes together that have resulted in scores, as you said, Tip have been able to go down and negate it with a goal at the far side.
Chance went in there and went over the bar. That's a good score, as we were talking away there. So by my notes, Tip should be, or Offaly should be on to 6 points, but it's still 5 here on the scoreboard in the ground. We'll just have to double check that at half time. This ball played over on the far side. Roisin Egan keeping to her task over there, and eventually though, it's Roisin Egan that knocks it out with Nicole Walsh on the ground. To it on the scoreboard for Tipperary. The goal from Grace O'Brien, who's back in the team today and has scored a goal and 3 points in this opening half. Not a bad return from a corner forward as Sarah Friday knocks this ball in towards Nicole Walsh, but it's cut out there by Brennan. The Tip have it. Michaela Morgan, Clodagh McIntyre trying to get on it, looking to try and find a crossfield ball to Roisin Howard, but Tip defence, or Tip forwards, held up by the Offaly defence, and the ball is knocked long. It's asking an awful lot of Egan to get there, but it's Kenny that's out in front. We haven't seen a whole lot now of Kate Kenny settling on this ball, looking to play it across, shortens the grip, and the hurled ball won't get over Aoife McGrath's head though, and there was an opportunity for Sarah Harding. Ball though is going to be flicked across here, and a chance now for Emer McGrath to settle on this ball. She's been told to shoot from the tip management. She has a shot from long distance. It's tailing a little bit off the upright and just to the left and wide. Probably could have taken it on even another 10 yards.
Yeah, no fault. Found herself in an ocean of space and obviously got the call from the sideline. They knew she was capable of the distance and the accuracy just not quite there. But worrying from an Offaly point of view, as you said, she could have probably taken it on another 10 yards or alternatively a low ball into that really dangerous full forward line.
Ball over on the far side, then it's knocked away from Grán Egan. It's going to be a sideline cut that Michaela Morgan looks like she's going over to take. Owen Elliott telling her exactly where to put it. We're live here at the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final, live on the Littlewoods Ireland GA Twitter account and the Camogie Association YouTube channel. There is 1 minute of additional time to be played, as Louise Riley, Cavan official, tells us. And the ball is played inside. Opportunity. Justin Heffernan said it's going to be a free in. And again, we say when they get inside the 45-metre line, the tip defence are under pressure a little bit from the Offaly forwards. Yeah,
great catch there by Sarah Harding, and possession is 9-10 to the law, and she was happy to, once she won it, she knew once she got down she was in possession, she was going to win the free if she could, and now a free that's going to be moved in closer, I think, in front of the goal.
Well, she elected to take a quick and tip not out of the way, so he's brought it across here, and it should be an easier task again now for Grán Egan. So it's 20-metre free nearly by the time she goes to connect with it and taps it over the bar. Now Grán Egan then brings Offaly on to 7, and the scoreboard is corrected here on the ground, so I was right. I always doubt myself sometimes, but should check the notes always. 2-8-7 it is, and apart from the goals, it's goals win matches, as they say. Offaly very much in touch in this game. 10 scores to 7, and you just feel if they hadn't conceded that sloppy goal down here just minutes ago, maybe this would be getting a little bit juicier.
Yeah, and they recovered even really well from the initial Caught to Van goal. Just before that wash break, they did come out and they are putting big passages of play together, but they're just finding their scores that little bit harder to come by than Tip are at the far side.
Roisin Egan and Michaela Morgan linking up. Roisin Egan going to have a shot, but she's tailed it out badly to the left and wide, and they've had a couple of bad wides as the half-time break is called.
Yeah, and that's another one, I suppose on occasion they've put ball into that full forward line as well, and when they found Mary Ryan in free space in there, it's been broken down, so I suppose the outside Offaly players maybe just electing to go along with some of the shots, and as you said, when they drift off to the side, they're wasted chances and poor wides, probably better off to play it in there. They have big ball winners in there, and Sarah Harding, Kate Kenny, Marie Tina's having a good first half there, so if they can get more ball in there, win a bit more possession, and maybe draw a couple of frees and just keep themselves in touch, keep that scoreboard ticking over and get back within touch of Tipperary. They're certainly, as I said, they've had passages of play in that first half where they have looked like they're the ones in ascendancy. The scores are just that little bit harder to come by for Offaly at the moment.
Yeah, and Offaly though are finding a bit of a gap, and you just wonder in some ways, is it down to the fact that you don't have Clodagh Quirk there, that defence has been shipped around a little bit. Now I know obviously Emer Lockman was the cornerback in the All-Ireland semi-final, but Sarah Friday back into a position maybe she wouldn't be accustomed to in some ways. Mairead Evanston now wearing the 6 shirt that's allowing Aoife McGrath a little bit more free roll. We don't have Karen Kendi here today, so it's all a little bit unsettling probably for them in some ways. I know they know each other, but just the quirks and everything that's involved in the defensive unit, Offaly are finding holes in it.
Yeah, I think they are, and I think when you don't have a centre back like Karen Kennedy, when you're used to having her there, obviously herself and Mary Ryan work so well together, and Aoife McGrath on one side, they are a unit that, it's one thing we'd say about Tip the last couple of days is that they've got a solid 6 backs and a goalkeeper. They know maybe what they're about every day, and that's a change. And obviously, they've had an extra week maybe without a game as well, so just a little bit of adjusting in there. But as ever, once you have Mary Ryan at full back, and as I said, she's been allowed kind of a free role from Offaly, and that's a dangerous role I think to give Mary Ryan, because she's such an intelligent player, so clever with her ball. She never wastes one coming out, and she's really playing Aoife McGrath into the play on occasion here. So but Offaly are creating those chances, and if they had a little bit more finishing up front, maybe they'd be a little bit closer.
Yeah, just looking at Niamh Tracy has come off. It looks like she's come up to sit in the crowd here. The backroom crew of the Tipperary team. Also, just to let you know, if you're watching, I don't know if we can get a camera, Dave, just over the Tipperary dugout. I know you're only going to see the back of her head, but the lady, the blonde hair that's just over the dugout there, that is Orla Dwyer. So Orla Dwyer is here with the Tipperary setup. Of course, a lady that won, of course, in Australia with the Brisbane Lions, came away with an AFLW title, is here lining out and tugged out anyway. Don't think we're going to see her today. She's not listed in the programme or anything like that, but we'll be expecting to see an awful lot of Orla Dwyer in the coming weeks, I'd imagine, in the Tipperary setup. Another addition, obviously, that will suit them well going into Championship.
Yeah, the only person in Callan today wearing a coat, the rest of us get summer. She's readjusting to the temperature of Ireland, but no, obviously a huge asset to Tipperary, and she's been a massive player for them both in ladies football and camogie over the last couple of years, and obviously coming back from a professional setup then as well. She's not going to have wintered well in Australia or anything like that. She'll be, I'm sure, fit and ready to go if the call comes from Bill Mullaney at any stage. But like you said, another huge asset to have in the Tip Armoury for the Championship.
Yeah, well, there you have it then. So she is back with Tipperary. Before we take a break, what is Susan Erner going to be telling her Offaly crew here now for the second half? Because, as you said, take the goals out of it and they're very much in it. Yeah,
it's like... It's frustrating sometimes watching Offaly. I think even last weekend, like, you can see the type of a game they're trying to play, you can see the type of a game they're capable of playing, and it just breaks down on occasion. When it does, they're punished by the Kilkennys and the Tips. I suppose you need to make the games that they're trying to play stick 100% of the time, and that's hard to do when you step it up the levels. She'll be looking for more of it. I think she needs to tighten up at the back. They've shipped 2 goals, they've probably gotten away with another couple of chances. Our tip forwards have found themselves in a lot of space in there on occasion, and that's not good enough. And I think from their own pockets as well, they've probably come more 50-50 into it since that first water break, but up to that point, they really have been playing second fiddle to Arena Friday and Roisin Howard at midfield. So I think if they can win that midfield battle, Michaela Markham and Roisin Egan really are driving on, and they're great strikers of the ball, capable of getting the ball into that full forward line, and as you said, they have been able to cause problems when they can get the ball up there. I suppose it's just to tighten up at the back maybe and get a bit more direct ball into that full forward line.
Well, there you have it, the views of Elaine Aylward in here as we look at this Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final. It is the half-time break here in John Locke's in Callan. It's Tipperary who look like they're going to ensure that they are still part of the top 4 in the Camogie setup, because they are at the moment holding on to that last place in the semi-finals. Cork, Galway, Kilkenny are already there, but maybe Offaly will have something to say about that in the second half. Here at half-time then in Callan, we're going to take a break for the moment. It is Tipperary 2-8, Offaly 7 points.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
You want the new personal best? Come on, all the way. Yes.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay. Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. Our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
We want the new personal best. Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.
And welcome back to John Locke's GA grounds here in Callan for the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter-final between Tip and Offaly. Tip lead 2-8-7, and Justin Heffernan gets us up and running and getting in and using her body quite well. Roisin Howard. Roisin, a very strong opening quarter, probably not as prominent second quarter, but she started here now and getting this ball moving. But it's cut out by the Offaly full back line. Sarah Walsh moving this ball forward now. It's Tip that cut it out as they will attack the clubhouse end. Mary Ryan going down, but back up. Arena Friday, I should say. Back up straight away. Drawn laughs of bemusement from the Tip bench as this ball is played across by Aoife McGrath. Miriam Campion is in, and she replaces the number 12, Niamh Tracy, as the ball goes over on the far side. And looks like it's Emer McGrath, is it?
I think it was Miriam Campion actually got in on the end of it, yeah.
So Miriam Campion, who is in, wearing number 17.
No, it was Aoife McGrath, I think, actually, sorry.
So point there for Emer McGrath, brings it on then to 2-9 for Tipperary as the ball down to the far side. Miriam is on with her cousins. She's a cousin of the McGraths. I think everyone's related to the McGraths in Lochmore Castleiney, but Miriam is on here representing Drummond-Inch, but that ball by Aisling Brennan is sent high and over the bar, and the Offaly crew are happy with that. That's a fine score. Aisling Brennan definitely one of the finds of our Offaly senior camogie team. Yeah,
certainly, and it was a ball Tip will be disappointed with. They look to have dealt with it. Mary Ryan looked to have it under control back there, but good pressure from the Offaly full forward line and just forced maybe the spilled clearance, and Aisling happy to oblige by popping it back over the bar.
Yeah, the St. Killian's player well able, as Justin Heffernan being urged by the Offaly bench, that she threw that ball at Sarah Friday. Coming strong onto it now. Sarah maybe didn't have the greatest day down in Cork, but she's definitely grown into this role as Nicole Walsh gets on the ball from Roisin Howard, pops it over the bar. That's a fine score. 3 players involved there from the puck out. Lovely bit of play again.
Yeah, and that's the real difference, you know, Tip able to work that ball up through the hands, through the lines, and into the player in the better position, and a great score there for Nicole Walsh when she got on the end of it. But Sarah Friday's really, really strong running from left half back is really paying dividends for Tipperary.
2-10 now to 8 points it is, 33 gone. This is a fine entertaining encounter though, all the same. I do know that it is double scores, but Offaly are given fine fettle here. You would just hope they don't fade. Oh, that's a heavy tackle coming in. Roisin Howard saying she just stood her ground though, but I think she's going to find herself getting a card, because I think Justin Heffernan is probably suggesting he's right. She did move her body in the direction of Michaela Morgan at that stage.
Yeah, and I think I'd move if I saw Michaela Morgan come running for me as well, but yeah, probably just didn't do her best to avoid the tackle and turned a little bit to shadow Michaela coming off the worst of it, but you know, happy to take the free, and Gran Egan now one from distance for Offaly.
But as we rate on Gran Egan here, the important thing was, you know, Offaly did go toe to toe with Kilkenny at times. Unfortunately they faded, especially in the second half, and you know, probably the scoreboard didn't do them justice then, really. Yeah,
and you could see, I'd say coming out of Burr last week, you could see what they were trying to do and the game plan they were trying to play, and you know, you can see it here again today, and when they do get to string those passes together, they are capable of taking scores, but I suppose they're just not doing it often enough, and it's coming a little bit harder to them than it is to Tipperary at the moment.
Oh, lovely bit of skill by Grace O'Brien. Ball down the wing by Emer McGrath. She had a hell of a lot to do to get inside, but she did and put a lovely ball over the bar. Grace O'Brien has now hit 1-4.
Yeah, super work from Grace again. Started the second half now as she finished the first half down along the sideline, and you know, plenty of Offaly company, but presence of mind and the cuteness to just cut back inside and get onto that left hand side and swing it over again and add to her tally.
Good play by Roisin Egan, getting it down here towards Kate Kenny. We haven't seen a whole lot of the number 14 from St. Rhinus, but she's scored a fine point there.
Yeah, and anything Grace O'Brien can do at one end, you know, Kate Kenny can do at the other, and it was a great take from her and did really, really well to get out into a scoring position and a super score from an angle.
Yeah, Aisling Brennan and Roisin Kerwin linking up to be able to, Roisin Egan linking up to be able to get her that score as the ball is played long now, upfield. Looking for Maybe Campion to be able to get this ball to Nicole Walsh. Nicole chasing in along the end line. Is she going to pop it across? Has to be able to flick it, but to no one in particular. But it might work out here. Coming on to it, McGrath gets a flick on it. Ball drops in. Dangerous ball. And there was a bit of a late one as well. And referee is going to talk here to Roisin Howard. She's already got a yellow card. And she has to go. Yellow card, and there's, unfortunate for Roisin Howard, she's only back first start for the Camogie side. They're down now to 14 players, and it gets a little bit dicey here.
Yeah, and it was a headless enough challenge. I'm not sure there was a huge amount of malice in it. It just headless enough in over the top of on Marie Jennings as that ball was dropping teasingly close, I suppose, to the goal, and unlucky maybe to pick up the second yellow. But I think just before that, Lorraine Keane had chased Nicole Walsh in along the end line, conscious that she was already on a yellow, so had she not, maybe she would have pulled her down from there. But a chance now for Offaly to regroup, and how they use the spare player now will be so important.
Yeah, I think Roisin just a little bit of frustration, and she's not overly happy coming off, as you can imagine. 2 yellow cards in a red in very quick succession. It'll be testing tip now is Morgan coming all the way. Kenny looking for Morgan, still going, taking on the whole tip defence. Mary Ryan steps on her way. Opportunity still accruing for Offaly. Going to have a shot, but it's not maybe the right shot at that time. There was maybe a chance for Harding inside if the ball had gone over the top, but it's a loose enough shot that went in the end.
Yeah, the pass should maybe have come a little bit sooner. Michaela Markham with a great run, really clever little play at the start just to flick that ball on in front of herself, and really strong run up through the centre, and probably could have just done a little bit better maybe with the pass off to get a better result.
Still double scores as such at 17 points to 9, but it's tipped down to 14 players now. So it's going to be character here from them as Mary Ryan gets out in front of her marker and knocks the ball up along the wing. Mary, I have to say credit to her, will always be first to the ball, will do everything to get in there as tip now. Look at the bill, that's a great take there by Campion, looking to have one look at the post, dropping it in high. Fortunately, she's dropped it to the left and wide. It was a good take and a lovely shot off there by Miriam Campion.
Yeah, great catch, great take, and as you said, a great shot off. Just didn't quite finish it off. But again, I think Offaly really are going to have to put someone on Mary Ryan now that they're obviously tip her down to 14 players. There's no reason Mary Ryan should be left free down there. She's just too experienced and too good a defender to leave her in an acre of space down there on her own.
Absolutely. And you would just feel, you put someone else in their body, just, it creates all sorts of problems. I know they're obviously playing a defensive plan, but maybe there's a certain time you just have to cut loose from the plan and
I just think Mary Ryan just has too much experience, and we've seen it time and time again, breaking up that Offaly attack, and such clever use of the ball. She sets up something good for tip every time she gets on the ball.
Chance there for McIntyre. Any one of the forwards that are on the pitch at the moment that hasn't scored yet. Back it goes though to Emer McGrath. Comes in from distance, up and over the bar. And again, you'd have to say Grace O'Brien, she mightn't be the biggest player out there in the field, but she's well able to get stuck in, got the ball back to McIntyre. The break then fell to McGrath and over the bar. Yeah,
and a lovely strike from McGrath. Was really, really lovely struck from a little bit of distance too, and a score that probably Offaly should have had at the far end, and instead Tip put one up on their end.
Ball is down the far end now, looking for Harding. Harding getting it to Kenny. Kenny looking to step inside Julianne Burke. Kenny settling on the ball, flicking the ball over. It got a break off Julianne Burke. It might fall for Teen. No, it's going to be settled and brought out by Aoife McGrath. Looking to be tackled there by Teen. Knocks it out here towards Emer Lockman. Lockman going for the support play, but charging on down the field come Tipperary now. Opportunity still now for Emer McGrath, looking to flick it inside. Clodagh McIntyre was maybe her option, but getting back there and looking to cut the ball out is Roisin Egan. Ball might break as Egan comes out with it. We saw her do that time and time again against Kilkenny. Ball breaks and it might work out for Sarah Walsh. Walsh looking to step down along the field, looking to come in for Tipperary. Number 24 will be getting ready is Caoimhe McCarthy. As the ball down the far side, flicked inside fairly nonchalantly there, and Justin Heffernan is calling a halt for something because there's a tip player down injured, and that all happened after that clearance from Sarah Walsh, and it looks like Arena Friday, her day is done. So another change again in the midfield kind of set up, because that's the two midfielders gone that started. Of course, Roisin Howard was sent off after 2 yellow cards in the space of 90 seconds. And Arena Friday just been called ashore by Bill Mullaney. And will involve now a little bit of a change in setup again. Again, it goes back to what you said, though, Elaine. Maybe Offaly now need to just take the chance and go and mark Mary Ryan.
Yeah, and it does look, in fairness, it does look like Gráinne Egan has picked her up inside now. I know she started on her on occasion, and as she drifted out the field, Mary Ryan ended up drifting out, and I suppose Gráinne went out further. Mary just stayed inside then and has really excelled as that spare player in that tip full backline for so long, and especially today. But I think, as you said, if Offaly want to go get scores, like if they want to win this game now, they need to go after scores, and you're not going to score against a defence that has Mary Ryan sitting as a spare player back there. So I think it's important that they pick her up now and try and work the ball up into that direction and avoid her being that spare player, because as I said, she's just too good to leave in that role. She sets up play after play for Tip, and a lot of her clearances have been what have set up the likes of Grace O'Brien and Sarah Friday further out the field.
Tension then has gone there for Mairead Teahan. She's up and going, and that's free, a bit loose by McGrath. Back into Teahan's hand in, playing it in field now, looking for Kenny out in front of Julianne Burke, looking to set around now. Going to have a strike off from about 50 metres out, dropping in into the hands and the grateful hands of Anya Slattery. And again, from an Offaly point of view, if they want to eat back into this lead, they have to be going to hand her over the bar as the ball breaks from McGrath, giving it out to Walsh. Walsh looking to step inside her marker, flicking it up along the wing. Good take and move on here now from Caoimhe McCarthy. McCarthy, the Knockavilla Kickham's player, taking it down the far side, looking to come inside the inside channel. Look at Devan standing in acres of space on the top of the D. Devan still going. This could be game over now, but the ball doesn't break right kindly for them. Campion has to come around the house a little bit, plays it short. O'Brien flicking the ball back out. Could be still an opportunity here. It's got to be worked out and recycled again. Grace O'Brien, referee, says there was a foul. Don't know why he didn't just let that play out, because the ball went over the bar, but he's calling back the Offaly player. And I know the advantage was gone, but late, he said, by Aisling Brennan. And Devan, it's a yellow card for Aisling Brennan. Devan will have this opportunity to make it 2-13.
Yeah, I think he could have just left the play go on there. The ball had broke to Grace O'Brien, and she had nearly struck it over the bar at the stage. But just to go back to that final little passage of play, Devan got on the end of that pass across from, I think it was Nicole Walsh, but she had started her run out around the middle of the field. We know her for, I suppose, her scoring prowess, her free taking and her dead ball skills, but that run was just pure hard work and determination, and it was a super run from her. The final pass from her just didn't quite come off, but Tip did really well to recycle it.
Cotavan now on to 1-3. I suppose one of the pleasing aspects for Bill Mullaney today is that there's not a whole dependency on Cot, you'd have to say. She's got 1-3 of the 2-13. Good to see a spread of scores. Yeah,
and Grace O'Brien has certainly been her match inside in that full forward line today, and Emer McGrath popping up for a couple of scores as well. So, that's pleasing, because sometimes I suppose it's a criticism of Tipperary that they are a little bit over dependent maybe on Cot up front for scores. But, while the likes of Clodagh McIntyre and Nicole Walsh on the scoreboard, Clodagh McIntyre not there yet, but is really, really busy inside in that full forward line, so that will be pleasing from a Tip point of view.
Lovely reach and take by Miriam Campion, looking to pop a ball inside. Here's Devan now. Will she go for or McGrath? Shot! Ball goes over the bar. And there was a good bit of play there again by Emer McGrath, who really grown into this game. She's had 3 points in the second half, 4 in total. And again, as we just alluded to, I'm sure something that Bill Mullaney will be quite happy with. That there's a spread of scores. Siobhan Flannery coming in now for Emma Mulrooney.
Yeah, that ball across from Grace O'Brien to pick out McGrath's run was just, through the eye of a needle, a really, really super pass. And as I said, Grace O'Brien is on fire today. I don't think anyone would have blamed her for going for the shot for herself, but saw McGrath in the better position, was happy to play her teammate into it. So, Tip really gelling up front. And as I said, sometimes a little bit over-dependent, or we can be critical of them, that a lot of the scores come through Cotavan. But certainly from Bill Mullaney's point of view, a good spread of scores there today, and that will please him.
Yeah, and they've gone on to 2-14, and they've kicked on even since Roisin Howard came in. Offaly, really haven't used the extra player that well, you would feel.
No, and it's hard to see even where Offaly have positioned that spare player. As I said, Mary Ryan is being picked up front now at the moment, but it's hard to see Offaly really getting any advantage from that spare player, and I'm not even sure if they know themselves where she's playing or what the purpose is. And often, it can be the team that actually goes down to 14 kicks on another little bit, and that certainly looks to be the case with Tip at the moment.
Coming in for Tipperary, Jean Kelly, the Aerogue Anna Carty, Donahill player, and she replaces Clodagh McIntyre. Clodagh will be a little bit unhappy that she got on the scoreboard today after her goal and point against Waterford, but at the far end it's Kerwin putting the head down now, trying to get inside Friday tracked all the way across, and Sarah Friday, good to see her. Obviously the last couple of weeks of training have really helped her, because I didn't feel she played well probably to her own standards against Cork, but out there today she's covering everywhere.
Yeah, and obviously coming back from a serious injury last year, but I think she's been outstanding for Tip at left half back there. She's been really strong in the air, and it's some really strong piercing runs up front as well.
Campion back to the van, but unfortunately she's pulled that to the left and wide from a distance. As we head towards the water break, I'm sure not too far away now. Quarter of an hour gone, and it is 2:14 to 9 points. Offaly though, maybe with an opportunity. Kenny looking to play it inside. Here's the chance, lovely bit of skill taken on the end of the hurl. Looking to step back around Egan. Egan is still going. Is she hauled to the deck? No, Justin Heffernan says get up, get on with it. Ball is out here though. Team going to have a strike from distance, up and over the bar. That's a score that Offaly needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tina, I think maybe just teasing it over the bar, maybe looking to dip it a little bit closer. Great take from Kenny in the original play, but probably should have played it in a little bit sooner, or maybe created something. The pass probably came a little bit late and gave Tip a chance to get numbers back behind the body. But, better from Offaly and more of what we need to see.
2:14 to 10 then on the scoreboard as we call the water break here. And really, Bill, I'm sure, will be happy with these charges, how they have taken to being a player down and, shown a good bit of character. And if Offaly felt that they maybe saw an advantage, they haven't been able to take it or haven't been allowed to take it.
Yeah, Bill will obviously be happy that they've had to reshuffle, obviously down to 14 players. He's got to put on a couple of subs and stuff, but the work rate and the intensity still hasn't dropped, and they're still tapping over the scores like they had been up to that point. Miriam Campion has been lively since she's been introduced there, won a couple of really good balls, so he'll be pleased with that aspect of things. I suppose from an Offaly point of view, they'll be disappointed that they haven't been able to make their extra player count. As we said, it's hard to see where that extra player actually is for Offaly at the moment, and they're certainly not getting any rewards from it. And then counteract that with that last move there, great ball up to Kenny, wins it really, really well, and has the option to offload it inside for possibly a goal opportunity. So you can see what Offaly are trying to create, but it's just not coming at the right time, I suppose, or that final pass leaving them down on occasion.
Yeah, so Offaly trying their hardest here, but since they went with the player advantage with Tip down to 14 players, it's Tipperary actually that lead on the scoreboard in that time. So that just goes to show that they haven't really dealt with that extra player. But Susan Erner again appealing for a little bit of I suppose determination of their crew. I don't know if we can pick up Dave here just to chat on this side, but the Offaly team talk was quite animated as they break away there. I think Susan, she, again, as we talked about, she seems to have got a style of play, to have a little bit of discipline, which maybe had been lacking over the last while. Just she's looking for them maybe to be just that little bit tougher on occasion. And
I suppose just to have that little bit of extra belief, like I heard her say at one occasion there, that this game was there for them at half time, and it certainly is. But I suppose for Offaly Camogie, they haven't had a big win in the last couple of years. They haven't taken down one of the supposed bigger teams, I suppose, and just sometimes to make that final breakthrough, you do need to get a win like that, just to give you that little bit of confidence to kick on.
So Sarah Harding has been replaced. Sarah Harding of Burr has been replaced by Christine Cleary of Shinrone. And 2:14 to 10 points. So better say hello to Karen Kennedy. Hopefully she's watching, and that the wisdom teeth aren't causing her too much hassle now that they've been extricated. But we might see Karen back in the coming weeks. And also we wish speedy recovery to Clodagh Quirk, who unfortunately of course picked up that cruciate injury against Waterford. As Brennan sends this ball now over towards Kenny. Kenny inside Julianne Burke, having to bend and spin inside. Kate coming in along the wing now, looking to spin back. Put the ball in towards Cleary, but the break on it works out for McGrath. Aoife McGrath popping the ball out here towards her fellow joint captain. Look where Cottevan is, back there helping out, but there's an opportunity now for them with Jean Kelly to break, but that's a good hook there coming in, and good bit of play there by Offaly's Orla Kerwin. Ball gives into the hand of her fellow midfield partner Roisin Egan. Up along the wing it goes now. Offaly looking to build on something here. They really need a goal. Here's Morgan looking to get inside now. She's still going, bearing down, threw it too far ahead of herself, and Mary Ryan stood up to it there and is able to knock the ball away. But there's Offaly there in numbers now. Still an opportunity, but it's getting in there and digging it out and breaking out again at Tipperary. And over to the far side, and look where she is. Grace O'Brien has 1-4 to her name, but back helping out the defence, playing the ball forward now. Nicole Walsh, who's had a very, very good game for Tipperary here today, playing the ball inside. O'Brien is still there, looking to play it forward, but thou shall not pass over on that far side. And the referee says that Grace O'Brien was overplaying it. So Offaly holding that ball up well there. And a quick ball going to be taken. Aisling Brennan playing the diagonal ball towards Cleary here, but ball gets away from her. Now putting the head down and trying to get to it there. Emer Lockman. Lockman goes down over the ball, has to kick it down, heading towards the photographer down at the far end, who has to extricate himself out of the way. And it's going to be a 45 down at the far end of the ground here, off to our right hand side. It's going to be taken by Roisin or Grán Egan, I'd imagine. Bill Mullaney urging his side to organise themselves with 12 minutes of normal time remaining. 2:14 to 10. You're watching a coverage here with the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final between Offaly and Tipperary. It's live on the Littlewoods Ireland GA Twitter account and the Camogie Association YouTube channel, and you are watching Roisin Egan split the upright. No, it's fallen into the grateful hands, and again those are the opportunities for Offaly. A couple of bad wides and a few drop balls too.
Yeah, and they've worked so hard on that occasion. You know, it all started with Michaela Markham's big run there at the last occasion, and a ball they had to work really hard to turn over then once they lost again, and then they just don't make a count on the scoreboard. And I suppose you look at that, counteract that then with Tip. When they get up the field, they seem to have, you know, just be able to get on the score with a lot more ease.
Anya Slattery went for a little bit of a tour there and was nearly dispossessed, but the ball came up along the line. It looked like it was a bit of a throw ball from Mairead Eviston. The Offaly bench appealing for it is coming forward with the opportunity. Justin Heffernan seen nothing wrong in the last two occasions, and I think could have maybe given Offaly the benefit of the doubt here as Campion gets that ball back to Walsh. Walsh looking to play a ball inside. Ball played across the field now, asking an awful lot of the Tip forwards to be able to get to it there. But Jean Kelly trying to get in and win that ball back, and she does. And she's looking to get away from the attentions of Sarah Walsh. Kelly now digging hard and looking for it, but there's not too many blue and gold jerseys. But here's Campion looking to get forward, and the ball hits the deck. Referee spots that free though. And I realistically think, Elaine, on two occasions Offaly should have had frees at this end of the field, both on the right and the left hand side, and it gets down to a yellow card and a free for Tip at the other end. Yeah,
and a couple of occasions, maybe even I think a couple of throwing hand passing coming out of the Tip defence there that allowed them to get up. But you know, credit Jean Kelly, did really, really well there to maintain possession in there, and Offaly looked to have control of it, and suddenly Tip win it back, and Marion Campion stormed into the square and dragged down for a penalty and a chance for Caughtavan.
Chance for Caughtavan, and the yellow card for Aisling Brennan. She got one after 42 minutes, and she's got a second yellow after 50 and a red card. And now we're 14-14. Caughtavan then up against Mairead Jennings. 2:14 to 10. Devan with the strike. Ball is in the back of the net. She just puts too much power behind him. There's not a whole lot Jennings could do about that. No,
and similar to that one in the first half from play, you know, a huge strike from Caugh, such power behind it, and credit to Jennings. I think she may have got a hurl in the direction of it, but there was no stopping that penalty. And you know, I for one wouldn't fancy standing against a one-on-one penalty from Caughtavan at any stage.
But again, now Offaly got to be careful here. They don't slip out of this game in the last 10 minutes like they did against Kilkenny, and it becomes a bit of an avalanche of scores.
Yeah, down to 14 each, and I think Offaly had committed numbers forward. They had kind of gone in search of this game, but now that it's 14-14 again, you know, Tip have a chance to turn things over, and his bodies get tired, I suppose, and a couple of lazy frees maybe going in and gives a chance to Caughtavan just to push Tip further ahead again, and as you said, run up the scoreboard and leave it as a bad beating for Offaly on the scoreboard in the end.
Looks like there's going to be another change for Tipperary. They have a free here now. Owen Elliott, the linesman on this side, telling Caughtavan where to place it, and she's aiming towards the far window of the clubhouse and puts that ball over the bar. And Caugh might have had one of her quieter days, you would feel, Elaine, but she still has 2-3 to her name.
Yeah, not a bad quiet day to have, I suppose, is it? But no, as we said, you know, there's been a fine spread of scorers in that Tip full forward line, and that'll be pleasing, not just from Caughtavan's point of view, but from Tip's point of view. You know that on occasion they have players that can step up.
Siobhan Flannery gets this ball inside, and here's Morgan getting the ball on. That was surely a free in. It was, and is it inside? Be interesting to see. Referee is pulling the jerseys, pointing to the ground. And it's just short of the 20-metre line. Michaela Morgan, when she's got in there on occasion, has caused problems. I'm always amazed by the retreat of the Tipperary players all the way to the goal line when they could be standing that little bit closer. It's not a 20-metre free. They're going to strike off, and the ball is blocked away. And knocked out an opportunity. Kate Kenny going to have a second strike, but the ball is there with Mary Ryan. And it's Sarah Friday. Fuller running now, I have to say. Good to see Sarah in full flight. Coming back after a serious injury. Got back for championship last year, but definitely flying today. Lovely interchange. Devan to O'Brien, and O'Brien puts the ball over the bar. And I should say Jean Kelly was at number 20. Yeah, put that ball over the bar. Fine score, good interchange of play.
Yeah, and worrying from an Offaly point of view, Emer McGrath had also drifted over just in front of the goal and was calling for that pass all on her own, and no Offaly defender near her. So, Offaly really need to tighten up at the back there now, but Tip showing no signs of let up as they head for 3-16, 3-17 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they're really pushing it on now, 3-16 to 10. Jean Kelly with that latest score as the ball is played up here by Offaly now, having to go for broke really. Morgan going to have a shot from distance, turns and put one look and puts it over the bar. Good score from Michaela Morgan.
Super, and just as I say, that Offaly have struggled to get scores. Michaela Morgan made that look so easy, and she's a huge asset to Offaly to have back. I thought made a difference when she came on last week against Kilkenny, and has on occasion today made some really good runs up into the tip half of the field, so a huge asset to Offaly to have her back.
Lorna Dare of Holy Cross Ballycal about to come in, and Mary Ryan, who's seen full time throughout the 3 league matches that we've seen her in, is getting a round of applause here. Definitely a lady will be in the running for our player of the match, I think. Absolutely,
yeah. And look, I suppose could do nothing about the fact that Offaly didn't put anybody in on her to mark her for long periods of that game, but I thought absolutely controlled it from the back on all occasions. So composed on the ball, and such an experienced player. Every ball that she uses is so clever. No wasted balls from her, and huge performance again today from her in the tip jersey.
Jean Kelly trying to follow up with a point on the left hand side that she finally got one on the right, but it's gone wide. It remains on the score 3-16 to 11, and there's a yellow card for Grace O'Brien. Grace, who has a goal and 4 points here today. Now in the referee's notebook for indiscretion. Sarah Friday gets this ball towards McGrath, but it's a well taken ball here, and Siobhan Flannery trying to settle on this ball, knocking it in, but it's dropped into Anya Slattery again, takes it on the end of the hurl, no pressure, but it's a good hook there from Cleary, Christine Cleary, the Shinrone player, looking to get in, but Slattery recovers and gets it out here towards the van, lets it drop over his shoulder, but the end line or sideline is coming in view. The Offaly player, I think, should have maybe let that ball go and would have had a sideline ball. They kept it in play, and it's sent down the wing here towards Kelly. Kelly looking to get inside the attentions of Amy Byrne. Remember her last week from the big battle she had with Michaela Keneally, as ball is played across field here now. Looking to take it into control. Gets away from Emer McGrath, who's had a good game as well. 4 points from her, 3 in the second half as this ball played long. Game getting away from Offaly now that little bit, but it might work out here for Cleary. Cleary looking to take on Emer Lockman, but Lockman does very well to buy herself a bit of space and then be able to deliver it to the far side of the field, where Aoife McGrath knocks it up along the wing, looking to find her captain, Cot Devan, joint captain. Cot Devan, of course, Aoife McGrath and Cot, the joint captains on the Tipperary setup. As coming in for Offaly is number 23, that's Orla Maher from Shinrone, and she replaces Grania Dolan. Sideline cut over on the far side, going to be taken by Aoife McGrath. 3:15 to 11, and looks like number 22 is going to come in for Tipperary, and that's Casey Hennessy. We saw Casey against Waterford. Might just get you to start thinking about your players in the match, Elaine, as Offaly get ready to bring in also number 22. Offaly's number 22 is Deirdre Cashin from Burr. Just waiting on all the paperwork to be done as Justin Heffern over on the far side. Of course, Offaly now will be heading for championship action in the next couple of weeks. But I'm sure, getting an opportunity to play Kilkenny and Tipperary, I know they've been chasing enough defeats, but realistically on occasion here they went toe to toe on both days with Kilkenny and Offaly, or with Kilkenny and Tip.
Yeah, and I suppose the only way you learn is through match practice and through game time, and you can have all the plans and all the whiteboards in the world, I suppose, but until you go out onto the field and try and put them into practice, it's very hard to see what works and what doesn't work. And defeats are obviously hard to take at any stage, but I think when you're Susan Erner and when you're Offaly and in this learning phase, that sometimes you learn more from those defeats. And I certainly think that they have taken things that didn't quite work that well for them last week against Kilkenny. They've rectified them in the last week, and they've tried them here again today and tried different things and different players. I thought Michaela Markham obviously made a difference when she came on last week. Marie Teagan coming back from injury today again, had a big presence in that Offaly full forward line. And, as I said, you can see where they're trying to go, what they're trying to do, but Tipperary are obviously just that further bit down the line as regards development at the moment, and that showed here today.
Amy Byrne of Lusma has been replaced by number 22 Deirdre Cashin Burr, and also coming off Mairead Everston, and memory serves me right, it was number 18 Sarah Delaney of Borlahan. That's in for her as this ball breaks for Flannery giving it off to Kenny looking to step the head down. The club mates linking up, ball still going here. Kenny has it on the end of her hurl, being tracked all the way by McGrath. Referee Justin Heffernan says that it's going to be a free and another chance for Grania Egan. Grania 4 points on the board today, but none in the second half. It'll just tell you how miserly the Tip defence have been in the second half. Definitely tightened up a lot. Yeah,
and no easy frees given away, no loose ball given away. And I think a lot of that was down to Mary Ryan and the way she marshalled that defence back there. Once she gets possession of the ball, she's in control back there, and there's no need to give away an easy free or anything like that. And that's rectified or shown in the fact that I suppose that Grania Egan hasn't had that many chances today.
No, she's had to wait nearly a whole half hour since her last score, and brings Offaly on to 12 points, 3-16 to 12. As the ball breaks for Sarah Friday, flicking it out here to Nicole Walsh. Been very impressed with Nicole as she knocks the ball along. Marine Campion trying to get there, dig this ball. Gets a shout back here from Cot Devan. Cot settling on this, dropping it in. We're right behind it. It's up and high and over the bar. Fine score, but again, the link-up play from Tipperary is something to watch, isn't it? Yeah,
and I think Marion Campion has been very influential there since she came in, trying to get her hand to every ball, and did it again on that occasion and flicked it back out to Cot Devan. And I know we accused her maybe of being in Clonmel a few weeks ago getting the radar in. I don't know, did she sneak into Callum, or is it just that woman? But anything she strikes seems to head straight for that black spot.
Okay, Kenny out in front of Julianne Burke, but Burke doesn't give up the ghost, and with the help of Aoife McGrath, they pickpocket Kenny and get the ball up along here to the centre of the field. Settling on this ball now is the sub that's in number 22, Casey Hennessy. Hennessy over towards Cott on the far side, asking an awful lot of Cott to get there, and the sideline wins the race. 3-17 to 12. A coverage of the Littlewoods Ireland Camogie League Division 1 quarter final. It looks like Tipperary will be joining Cork, Galway and Kilkenny in the hat for the semi-finals, and that draw will be taking place after this game. With 3-17 to 12, it's a fine performance from Tipperary as Tip come on the attack again now, delivering this ball across out towards Campion. Campion trying to get in front of Shanahan. Shanahan though using some of her youthful experience, former star with the Offaly Miners, looking to play this ball up along the wing now, looking for the number 23 shirt of Orla Marr, the Shinroan player, but it's Casey Hennessy driving onto this ball now, gets a shout over on the far side. It's Devan again, but the ball gets away from her. We'll have time to get around it, waiting to come into play is number 25 Eilish McDonald. Ball is with Devan, going to settle on her left, playing the ball across, dangerous ball, might break, still in there for Tipperary. Ball is knocked to the back of the net, and again it's just the way it's sat up lice, and ball flicked to the back of the net.
Yeah, super play from Cot Devan. Gave the call to Casey Hennessy initially, and a great ball across to her. Did really well to regain it, and could have easily tapped the ball over the bar for another point for herself, but saw Grace O'Brien and a super pass across, and maybe didn't get it on the initial shot, but certainly made sure of it, and another goal just to add that bit more to the scoreboard for a Tip.
Well, Grace O'Brien back into the team today, picking up 2-4 for herself, all from play, and she's just had one of those days there. 4-17 to 12 now, looks like another bit of a beating for Offaly. I think we also see another sub there. Emer Lockman has been replaced. She's gone up in front of us here. And time running out now, and it's just all about maybe a few scores and a bit of performance ahead of Championship. Kate Kenny, who's definitely been more of a thorn in the Tipperary side in the second half, but being well marshalled back there. Realistically, you would feel from Offaly going forward, they probably need another scoring forward.
Yeah, it's probably, they've worked the ball well on occasion today, and as we said, attacked well when they broke that Tip half back line in the first half, but they just haven't really finished any of those scores, and they haven't. chance.
Put the ball in, have they put the ball over the bar? Yeah.
Really clever free across from Grania Egan. Spotted the run of the substitute there. Ellen Regan, I think it was it? Or Chris? Yeah, and spotted the run, made it and tried to make something maybe a little bit bigger of it. But yeah, from a Tip point of view, you know, they've been able to run the bench, and pleasingly for them, it hasn't had any impact on the way they've been playing. You know, any sub they brought in, I think, really stood up, put their hand up for a place on the starting 15, and it really didn't weaken the Tip performance. From an Offaly point of view, as we were saying, you know, on occasion they broke at speed broke that Tip half back line, but they just couldn't make a count on the scoreboard, I said, and throughout the game Tip were just able to get their scores that little bit easier than Offaly, and ultimately that was the difference.
That was the difference, as Justin Heffernan calls time on it then. 4-17 to 13 points. Realistically, you know, you're looking at a serious enough victory there for Tipperary. The scoring the guts of a 16-point victory here, of course, today against Offaly. I don't think Offaly were 16 points worse off. They just, I suppose, on occasion, when Roisin Howard went off, probably didn't utilise that extra player that well, and then scoring opportunities when they accrued. Tipperary took them at the other end fairly nonchalantly on occasion. Offaly just didn't take their chances at the other end. Yeah,
Offaly just couldn't score as freely as Tipperary, and you know, they still put up 13 points, which, you know, not a bad tally, but like the goals are so crucial, and we've spoken about it on occasions, like it's the big teams, it's the big 3 and 4 that can get those goals when they need them the most and get them at the crucial times, and Tip did that today. Anytime Offaly strung a couple of passages of play together and you thought maybe we were getting a foothold into the game, Tip came storming back, showed all their experience and got a crucial either goal or a couple of points quickly and easily enough, and just stretched their legs again, and to be honest, they were probably always in control of this game.
Looking at it then from an Offaly point of view, you know, as we said to you, and I kept saying it maybe in the last quarter, they didn't need to suffer the same scenario where they came out of Burr the last day kind of feeling, look, we stuck with Kilkenny on occasion, but another kind of chastening defeat. It's a bit similar here now today. What is Susan Erner going to do with those now ahead of championship over the next few weeks? Yeah, you know, I said, you know, you often learn a lot from defeat, but and same thing, you don't want to be defeated too often. It's not too much learning you want to be able to do. It'd be nice to be able to get a win and back up all the hard work, and you know, it's all well and good, as I said, having the plans and stuff, but sometimes you just need a win to prove that what you're doing is actually working and you are going in the right direction. It can be hard occasion when you're doing all that hard work, putting all the plays together, and you're still being beaten by 16 and 17 points. Like, they'll have to regroup now. I suppose the championship draw will be huge for them, and who they may draw in that, and there'll be some games in that they will really be targeting, and they'll have to, like, as I said, there's huge work going on there, and you can see what they're trying to do, you can see the way they're trying to play, but they're just probably a little bit behind the likes of the Tips and the Kilkennys, Galways and Corks in stage of development. You know, Tip are probably the team that they're closest to, that they're probably aiming most to get to the position Tip are in, but you know, Tip are 3 or 4 years ahead of them in terms of development at that stage. Let's think about your players of the match from an Offaly point of view. Michaela Morgan, you know, coming back in to set up, getting the start today, played very well. Aisling Brennan, I think, is a standout. Roisin Egan as well had another big game. Kate Kenny probably had a better second half. You would feel Tian never gave up. On a Tipperary point of view, Mary Ryan seemed to boss that defence back there. Aoife McGrath, Sarah Friday had a fine performance too. Roisin Howard, until obviously she was sent off. Nicole Walsh, Emer McGrath. There's so many more on the Tipperary side. You could give it as well. Grace O'Brien ultimately coming in with 2-4 there. Yeah, and a team performance from Tipperary, and that was typified in the subs that they brought in. As I said, it didn't weaken anything. They went about their business the same way, and you know, they had heroes all over the field. But for me, I thought Sarah Friday stood out really throughout from the start. I thought she was dominant in the air. She caught a lovely ball in her right hand there on one occasion the second half and burst out with it really, really strong in the air, broke down Offaly attack time and time again and drove forward. She made a couple of really lung busting runs in that first half, and I thought she was really, really strong throughout, and you know, coming back from the serious injury that she was, as you said, maybe not quite up to match pace the last day in Clonmel, but certainly got up to it here today, and I thought she was standout for Tipperary today, so she's my player of the match. So give us the name then, so we will be able to talk again. Ultimately, for our player of the match will be our number 7, Sarah Friday of Tipperary then, so we'll be hopefully hearing from her in the next few minutes, as well from the backroom team of both Tipperary and Offaly. But stick with us, don't go too far away, because we just have to take a quick break, get set back up on the pitch down in front of us, but we'll have reaction from both camps on the way again from John Locke's GA ground here in Kilkenny. But it has finished for the moment. Tipperary 4-17, Offaly 13 points.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings, and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression.
I am the best.
We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
We want the new personal best. Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.
And you're welcome back to John Locke's GA ground here in Callan. The face you see on screen is Susan Erner, the Offaly manager, who I suppose, Susan, in the last week you've learned an awful lot about this side.
Yeah, look, again, we're, I suppose, disappointed with the scoreline, but, you know, I suppose, as I said to the girls, I'm happy that they never gave up. I was just admiring one of my midfielders. The legs looked completely out of gas, but she kept making the runs and trying to do the right things, and that's what we're just trying to get the girls to do, is to keep trying to do the right things, and eventually someday things will start clicking better for us. It's just, I suppose, we're a little bit raw at the moment, and we've another few weeks now, thank God, to Championship to try to get these things right.
But credit to you as well, Susan. I heard a little bit of laughter out of the group there at the end. You know, you're not completely demoralised. You obviously feel that something is going to happen for you. You just got to keep going to the well.
Yeah, that was probably something stupid I said now, to be fair. It comes out of me quite often. But look, yeah, that's the really important thing, like, is try to instill some bit of belief in them. You know, I know we're after taking two kind of heavy beatings there, but, you know, I believe, and my management team believe, that there's more in this Offaly team, and if we can just get these things right. And I suppose I was just saying there as well that we're probably not getting a bit of luck of the green as well. You know, at the start of the game we missed a goal, and I suppose a couple of two goals kind of went in that we wouldn't be happy with conceding. So if we just had a bit of luck as well as everything else, I think we'd be going a lot better. But you know, there's loads to work on, and look, we've loads of time, aren't we lucky? We're out in the sunshine, and we've a championship to look forward to now as well.
But I suppose the credit in the last couple of weeks would be, Susan, is that there's a little bit of positivity around Offaly Camogie again.
Yeah, like I said it to them there, would you ever, like 2 years ago, like, would you ever felt that you put up a performance like that against Tipperary? You know, like, the numbers are there, we've a strong panel. And look, we're management are still finding out a lot about our players. Like, there's people on the sideline we haven't really seen kind of, you know, fully see them fully out in the field because of lack of time, I suppose, lack of preparation we've had before the league and things like that. And you know, I suppose one thing that we have little bit, we're a bit unlucky, like we're kind of started from scratch, new management, new panel, new plans, and you know, all these things don't just click into place at the start. So look, that's the good thing about Championship being another few weeks, that now we can really work on those.
Last question to you. With that championship ahead now, do you think maybe the penny might start to drop with the girls, that, you know, they have been able to go toe to toe? Fair enough, they've shipped a couple of beatings, but you know, for 3/4 of the game against Kilkenny and against Tipperary, you were in the mix. It was going to take a bit of a reach to get there, but you still were in the mix and going toe to toe with them.
Yeah, we're competitive. Like, for the first 30 minutes, I definitely thought that we had the upper hand against Tipperary. It's just they had the experienced players, I suppose, that were able to kind of slot the points over. It just seems to come more easily to Tip at times, and if we look at our forwards, we probably just took too much out of the ball. You know that first touch and then touching the hurl ball back on the hurl again. You know, these were little things that we need to, little habits that have been created, and little habits that we're going to try to get rid of. Yeah. So look, I'm looking forward now to the next 3 weeks. I'm looking forward to Championship. Like, I know they've got 2 heavy beatings there, but I really do think there's huge potential in the group, and hopefully that we will fulfil that in the next couple of weeks. Well,
good to see Offaly Camogie back on a fine positive feel anyway,
yeah.
Susan, despite the last week and maybe the way it's gone, and the best luck for the coming weeks in the Championship.
Thanks a million, thank you.
Susan Erner giving us her views then on this encounter here today, and we're going to call in our player of the match, and good to see a happy smiley face on this lady. Sarah Friday, congratulations on being our player of the match, but I suppose for you, you know, good to be back on full fettle, let's say, and probably a pre-season behind you, and are you feeling good about your body again, I'd say?
Yeah, I suppose anyone that's after coming through an ACL rehab will tell you sometimes you can come out nearly stronger than before you went into it, because you give so much individual training to yourself, and you're determined to get back, and you're hungrier than ever after missing out on a season. So I definitely think that has rode in, and it's for everybody as well. Angela Walsh has done massive work with the whole team, and I think our fitness, we're fitter than we've ever been, and we're continuing to work on that, and I think that stood to us there near the end of the match as well.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, you have a championship feel about you already in some ways. I'm sure that's all been tapered and everything like that, but you just, today on occasion, you were playing on the top of the ground, I would have felt at some points.
Yeah, that's true. I think with Tipperary Camogie, a big thing with us is that in the last few years we haven't had a high turnover of players and management, and the cohort that's been there like is just really tight knit, and we know each other very well. And I suppose that feeds into what you're saying, that we looked like we were playing well together because we have been together, that group, for the last few years. And we were so eager, we were doing all the individual stuff like everybody has, but when we came back together as a group, it was really easy, I suppose, with the work that we had done just to get the hurling. And look, it's really enjoyable. Like, the surface here, unbelievable. This weather, class. Like, that's where you want to be. And like you're saying, it definitely feels like there's a championship feel to it. I think it's because we were missing it for so long. So yeah, it's brilliant, and I know it's only the league, but massive competitiveness there, and great to be playing.
Yeah, and Tip now coming on the bounce of 3 wins, coming in now into a stage where you probably feel, to be taken seriously, you have to take the mantle of what some people would say are the top 3. You have an opportunity next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where we want to be. Like, we want to be playing and breaking into that top 3. Every year I feel like we're bridging that gap, but I'm sick of saying that year on year, and we want to be there. Like, we want to be beating the Corks, Kilkennys, the Galways, and we're all the same, and we know that doesn't just happen. And please God, the work that we're putting in, we're getting that bit closer all the time, because you never really know how good you are until you're up against those teams, really. And credit to Offaly, a lot of work being done there, but we know where we want to be, and that's like you said, into all Ireland League finals, whatever it might be, against those top teams.
So Sarah, last question to you. You're looking now at the next couple of weeks, league semi-final, obviously to prep, hopefully a league final as well. It's all going to come thick and fast, and I'm sure, judging as a lady that's come back from injury, and I know you got back at the end of last year, but looking to enjoy maybe a summer of championship action now. Yeah,
please God, they're coming taking heavy, like the matches, and that's where you want to be. And I suppose the biggest fear at the moment is we're seeing in club teams and county teams is injuries, and Angelo, like I said, and Kelly are looking after us very well, and that's the most important thing for us now, is just making sure, thankfully today again, everybody came off that field and not injured and fit and ready to go again next weekend. And I think that's going to be really important for every team now, because it's such a fast turnover, and that's where you want to be. You can see there my club mate Claudia Quirk, like, she did her cruciate last week, and like, these injuries just come. Shauna Quirk did her hamstring during the week in training, and we just really need to mind ourselves now and do everything. Like, it'll be recovery straight away again to get ourselves right for next weekend, and really looking forward to it.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the league and championship, Sarah.
Thanks
for joining us. Our player of the match here this afternoon down in Callan, giving us her views on it. Thanks indeed, Sarah. We'll be shortly hearing from Bill Mullaney on his thoughts on this encounter here. He's just having a quick word with one of his players who's had a performance today. Bill will be coming to us shortly, and we'll hear then as well from Elaine to be able to wrap up matters here in John Locke's in Callan. So Bill is on his way. A fine performance again from his Tipperary side, and don't forget, plenty of action to come next weekend. We'll bring you the notification of the fixture and everything like that for the semi-finals next weekend. But Bill is with me, and I'm sure you're a happy man again. You can come forward there a little bit, Bill.
Yeah, very happy with the performance overall. I thought we we played well, especially when we lost Roisin. A player down, I think they knuckled down, and played better, worked harder, and I thought in the end we deserved it. But it was a very tough game. I know the scoreline often says, "Oh, geez, it looked one-sided" and stuff like that, but it wasn't. It was tough all over the field, and you can see how good our goalie had to be in the second half as well. She had to catch a lot of ball. Fair play to Anya, So it shows like that Offaly caused us problems. They ran through and put us under pressure as well. But I was delighted for the girls. They performed really well from the starting 15 to the finishing 15. It was a great performance from them.
I mentioned it to Sarah, Bill. They seem to be on the top of the ground today. They had a real championship feel about them. Maybe things are starting to click for you a little bit.
Well, I think we're improving in every game, but we have to. If we're meeting the likes of Cork, Kilkenny, Galway, Offaly, Limerick now after yesterday, Waterford as well, we have to be improving every game. We have to be learning every time, and learning lessons from every game and applying them the next day out. We can't assume anything, we're looking forward to next weekend having another pop at it. We want to be playing every Sunday if we could, and winning. Everybody wants to win.
Looking at what would be the most pleasing aspect for the performance here today, I might give a nod maybe towards the forwards, that there was a few others stood up to the mark and took a couple of opportunities. Would that be fair enough?
If you're asking me that question now, I'll be about 22, 23 players there that I'll be going through. I thought Miriam Campion, when she came on, was exceptional as well. She was a big out for us, laid off the ball. I thought the backs as a unit, including the goalie, were tremendous. Julie, Aoife, Sarah Friday, who you give man of the match to there, you know, I mean, all around, I'm pleased everywhere, to be honest, because I thought it was a full team performance and a full panel performance, to be fair, because when the subs came on, Jean came on as well, Grace O'Brien went up in the forwards, you know, some of the scores and some of the link play we had today was exceptional, and, you know, I mean, we have to do it every week if we want to keep progressing, you know.
Why I wanted to allude a little bit to the forwards was because I know how good defensively you've necessarily been. I just thought that, you know, maybe in a couple of the matches, and a lot of people might feel there's a dependence on Cott, but today I just thought some of the other forwards, you know, Aoife McGrath gave a fine performance of 4 points. Grace coming in, she gets 2-4, you know, taking some of the pressure off then. Yeah,
well, look, I mean, you have to. It's not fair on Cott. I mean, Cott's a brilliant player, as I always say. I'd pay the money just in to see her warming up, like, you know, and she's fabulous. But I mean, you can't be a one-trick pony either. Like, you have to have other various options around the field. The girls are playing with confidence. They're able to take their score, and Cott's including them in the score as well, giving them their passes, and you know, and taking the pressure off them by drawing a marker as well. So I mean, yeah, you're right in what you're saying. I think we have like spread the play and spread the scoring a bit better, and we probably need to improve again on that. We need to be a bit sharper again taking our scores, you know.
Finally, just maybe a note of sympathy to Dinny as part of your backroom team. I know he sadly lost his mum.
Yeah, you know, I mean, fierce condolences to Dinny. I know, like, himself and his mum were very tight. Huge loss to us here today. I'm glad we could go out and perform for him. You know, tremendous respect for him, and big loss for us today, you know.
Thanks indeed. Bill Mullaney, best of luck in the rest of the league.
Thanks
as of course prepare for the semi-finals next weekend. I'm going to call in Elaine now for 1 second, and you can catch her later on, Bill, for her thoughts. Thanks indeed, Bill Mullaney. I'm sure, Elaine, he's going to be a happy man, because I think when you look at regards the league, how it's gone, they seem to have made a step every week.
Yeah, they've been building and they've been gradually improving all along. I think we saw a big step up today from the Waterford game even 2 weeks ago, and look, Bill will be hoping that trend continues and they can step up again next week. But as you said, so many pleasing aspects all over the field. You know, Anya Slattery back in goal again, and you know, solid enough defence behind her, and then as you said, plenty of forwards stepping up to get their name on the score sheet. You know, it is really all going in the right direction for Bill, and I suppose the big test now is that they need to get a win now next weekend in a league semi-final. As we mentioned beforehand, they were in that league final last year, didn't get the chance to play it, and Sarah even mentioned, you know, they want to win a national title and they're 2 games away from it now, so a huge week for them and a huge weekend next weekend.
I mentioned it during the week. I was on a podcast in Tipperary, and I said I felt that it's something that irks them that they didn't get to play the 2020 final, but I think they feel, to be taken seriously, that they could take one of the top 3, is that they maybe have to win this league title. So I'm sure that is something that's peppering along, because to me at the moment their movement is probably ahead of some of the other counties that we've seen. Yeah,
and I think what's another really strong for them is their bench. They brought in players there today, the likes of Marion Campion, and it didn't take a bat out of them. You know, they all played just as well. The team plan kept rolling and they kept the scoreboard ticking over. So yeah, and I suppose to win a national title, they know they're going to have to beat a Kilkenny, a Galway or a Cork, and I suppose if they do that, they'll be whatever national champion it will be of whatever competition, be it league or be it All Ireland. So I suppose that was the one opportunity they had last year, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they're using that as a bit of motivation this year to get back to a league final and do what they think they're well capable of doing and what I think they are capable of doing.
He mentioned there, he could have mentioned so many of his players, you know, and he's probably right. There was very little fault you could find with the Tipperary play today.
No, and that's a huge bonus for him. You know, so often, as we said, and it's through no fault to Cott or anyone else, but we've talked about Tip and we've talked about Cott Devan. You know, whereas today I think it was hard to pick a player of the match because they had standout performers all over the field, not just 1 to 15, but as I said, the subs that ran in as well. You know, every single one of them contributed to the play and their interplay. You know, there was no player standing up taking ludicrous shots for themselves just to get themselves on the scoreboard. There was plenty of interplay right from Mary Ryan at full back all the way out, you know, and good passages of play, and those passages of play all resulted in scores, and I think that was the difference today.
We've talked about Offaly, and we've maybe got the reaction of Susan. One little word for encouragement is that they have a little bit of positivity around the whole Camogie setup within the county. She's a few weeks now maybe to kind of align the kind of little issues that they have, and she reckons maybe their first touch is maybe not just at the level that some of the others would be. I'm not sure it can be all rectified in the next maybe 3 to 4 weeks, but there has to be some element of positivity around it. The girls could feel they can go to the well and represent the county well.
Yeah, I think so. And if you came into Callan here today and you maybe didn't check the scoreboard first and came in on some of the good passages of Offaly play, you'd think that they were right there. I don't think the scoreboard this week or last week probably reflects the true Offaly that we've seen. At times they have gone toe to toe with Kilkenny and Tipperary today, but just their finishing is probably a little bit off at the moment. I think Susan mentioned, just taking that last little extra bit out of the ball maybe, and that obviously at this level you give a team a chance to get back and get numbers back, and that's what Tip and Kilkenny did and turned them over, and that's a sucker blow. Then when you're in a scoring position, you don't take it, and generally the opposition go up and get a score at the other end, and it's nearly a 2-point turnaround. So small little things like that. Look, Offaly will look for a favourable draw, and if they get a favourable draw, I do think they're capable of taking some of the bigger names out of the competition, or certainly getting a few wins. I do think things are going in the right direction in Offaly. There certainly is a buzz about Camogie and Offaly that hasn't been there for a number of years, and look, Susan and her management team I think have a really good style of play about them. They know how they want to play, and it has been a reasonably short, obviously they had a hugely disrupted year last year. They've had maybe 6 or 7 weeks of pre-season and season this year, and only their third game, so it's probably expecting a lot to expect them to turn everything around in those 3 games, but they certainly are heading in the right direction. And I think Sarah Friday mentioned it then about the retention of players and the retention of management, and I think from an Offaly point of view that'll be key to them going forward. They need to keep Susan Erner and her management team there for a couple of years, get that panel of players gelled well together and build. This mightn't be a 2021 All-Ireland winning Offaly team, but it's certainly a road towards that, and head along the development path that Tip are clearly on, and reaping good benefits from.
Absolutely, and good to see obviously that the Camogie set up, and we would see with Championship that you talk about the big 3, but good to see the Offaly's, the Limericks, the Dublins all back up in that kind of list from 4 to 10. It could be anyone gets from 10 to 4. It's
exactly, and that's what you want to see. We want to see a good competitive Camogie, be it league or championship teams that going on any given day, and they can put it up to the best of them, and the result is not as predictable as maybe people think it should be. And I think Limerick really tore up the script yesterday and showed that their hunger and their passion, and they played with real hunger and passion yesterday and put it up to the All-Ireland champions for 50 minutes of that game. And look, credit to Kilkenny, as champions do, they found a way and they got out with the victory yesterday. But I think Limerick's performance yesterday will have given real hope to a lot of other teams for the championship and for the coming weeks.
Finally then, Tia, still after all that, it's still the top 4 that are in the semi-finals. Where do you think it's going to rest next weekend? Yeah,
you talk about the development, I suppose, and how everyone goes along, and still you come down and you've got Kilkenny, Cork, Galway and now Tipperary. And look, that's been the 4, I suppose, for the last couple of years. Tipperary have been knocking on the door. They need to break down that door now. They need to get to a national final and probably need to win it. It might give them the little bit of confidence maybe that they need to go the step further to take out one of those big 3. I suppose the draw will be huge to see what way teams go. Kilkenny will look to bounce back. Brian Dowling obviously will have been happy with the win yesterday, but maybe not in the manner of it. So, he'll look to rectify some of those things. And, Tip are coming in, as I said, their trajectory is building all the time, and they're doing really, really well. So they'll be hopping off the ground next week. Obviously, Cork and Galway have had a little bit longer of a break, so a lot of will depend on what kind of training they've gotten in and how close to match pace they are. But yeah, 2 really exciting semi-finals next weekend.
And if I was to put your head on the block, because we haven't got the draw, I do believe it's in the process, so I'm just waiting to hear the confirmation of it. Who do you think might come out of those 4?
Yeah, I suppose it's hard to tell. I've seen a good bit of Kilkenny, I suppose, in the last couple of weeks. Seen a lot of Tipperary. Haven't seen Cork in their initial game. Haven't seen Galway live yet, so it's hard to know where they're at. Galway obviously looked very good against Limerick last weekend, and then Limerick come to Bury yesterday and put on the performance they did. Look, Kilkenny are the reigning All-Ireland champions. As I said, things were going against them yesterday and they managed to find a way through, so it's hard to bat against them. But look, I think Tip are definitely going in the right direction. They seem to be the team with the most momentum maybe behind them at the moment. Had their first round defeat and have been building since, so I think there's a huge amount of momentum with Tipperary, and I think they are capable of probably getting to that final and definitely capable of winning it.
Okay, well, the views of Elaine, I believe there's no word on the draw just yet. Of course, in Division 1, it's Cork, Galway, Kilkenny and Tipperary. Division 2, Meath, Wexford, Antrim and Down. And I suppose in Division 2, good to see Wexford that seem to be buoyed up as well. We mightn't discount them making a comeback in the next while shortly. But I suppose for the other sides, being able to take down some of the second teams within the counties, it just goes to show you maybe for Antrim last year, Down as well last year, it wasn't a bit of flash in the pan.
No, No, certainly not. And I think, I wouldn't be a bit surprised either if some of those teams were using it as a bit of motivation, maybe that they were the first teams in their county and all right, they got to the knockout stages of it last year and that they're good enough to be there every year, and they certainly showed yesterday. They were the Meath Kilkenny game I was at in Burr, and it was a fantastic game, and I have to say Meath's experience, and they're just never to say die asked you, got them over the line right in the very last minute. But yeah, certainly Wexford I think are a team that are tipping along nicely there in Division 2, putting up really big scores, getting some big names back on the field, and certainly putting the troubles of the past couple of years behind them. COVID was probably a bit of a blessing to them. It let them go away, reorganise themselves and come back and hit the ground running now in Division 2 this year, and look, they look in a really strong position to go on and win that Division 2 title, and they'll be up there then fighting for honours in Championship.
Well, we'll wait and see how that goes. So as we said, the draw's not completed just yet, I believe. I thought we might have it before we go off air, but unfortunately not. So just keep an eye on the Camogie Association social media, and also I would imagine Littlewoods will carry it as well. I do believe it's a double header. Elaine, you correct me on that. Nolan Park next Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's 1 and 5 in Nolan Park next Sunday from what I've heard. So yeah, should be two huge games, and in Nolan Park, absolutely fantastic facilities, fantastic surface. So if we get the weather for it, it'll be real championship feel to the league semi-finals.
Yeah, I believe the weather ahead next week is supposed to be serious indeed. Well, my thanks to Elaine, to David, Emma and to Ger in the background have been pulling all the strings and keeping this action going. Hopefully you've enjoyed the action here of the Littlewoods Ireland National Camogie League Division 1 quarter final. It is Tipperary then who have joined Galway, Kilkenny and Cork in the hat for the semi-finals that will take place in Nolan Park next weekend. Tipperary victorious by 4-17 to 13 points. So my thanks to the crew again and to Elaine. Hopefully we'll see you in Nolan Park next weekend. I've been Killeen Whelan, but from John Locke's GA ground in Callan in County Kilkenny, it's bye-bye for now.
Our game is about more than sacrifice. Our game's about style.
Camogie is the fastest field sport in the world.
In our game, we play and create with flair.
Push, all the way through, really good.
We break records, smash ceilings and shatter expectations. We live with our own expression. We turn our style into art. We set real squad goals. On and off the pitch. We follow trailblazers and legends. And our game is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We forge our own path forward.
You want the new personal best? Come on, all the way.
Because our style is substance. And our style is here to stay.